What is going on, everybody? I am Gray.
I'm Wolfman.
Very glad to have you with us. It is episode 15.
The old 1-5.
And it's crazy because, and we've talked about this in the last couple weeks, we've picked all of our movies, at least for the next, 10 episodes, 12 episodes. We had no idea the current state of affairs would be what it is when we picked this movie.
Ain't that the truth? Jesus.
Just so fucking happened. Okay, quarantine was happening.
But then again, the average person isn't going to know what's going on because they've never seen the first one of these movies, because the second one is not very much the same. It's similar. It has some same ideals, but not.
But I think that's what makes it even crazier, because when we talk about this, if you don't know the first one, it's I want to say it's crazy, but I can't be using that word too much because I'm already going to be using it enough, because we're comparing. This is our second episode doing a remake, the Crazies.
The Crazies from 1973 by George Romero.
Yep. And then the remake,
I would actually call it a reboot, but yes.
Reboot. Yeah, I'm more comfortable with reboot.
Because it's not really a remake, but it's more of like a reboot of the... But like I said, we're going to get into that, why it's more of a reboot than a remake, even though it's not a series, but, you know.
Yeah. I think they just took liberties with it.
Yeah.
But that's from 2010. Most people know that movie, and they don't know it's actually a reboot, remake, even just whatever. And the original movie also had a different title, alternate title, codename Trixie.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to do some looking on here of where it was used, but it comes up in the title screen on some on whatever version I watched. I don't think my version that I own, though, has that. I don't think.
Really? Which one did you watch for this?
I watched Tubi.
Me too.
I got lazy and didn't want to dig the DVD out, so.
Well, it's a fucking hassle for you, because
that won't. That's a hidden one. That's not.
It's not one that you're pulling out on a monthly or yearly basis.
Yeah, no, I've watched it. I think I've watched this movie 3 times now in my lifespan, so it's not like one that I've watched a lot.
Right, yeah, not like Dawn of the Dead or Texas Chainsaw, not one of those.
Yeah, and I think I've watched the reboot now 3 times too.
Okay. But if you like the reboot, I don't want to say whether or not you'll like the original or not, because I think they're different enough that they're both worth watching.
Well, just a quick like kind of rundown. The original is more of a drama, suspenseful, shocking exploitation almost. There was another word we used earlier, and I can't remember what it was, and it fit really good too. But it's a George A. Romero movie, and it's one of his earlier ones. And you know, George Romero always had a lot of social commentary in his movies. Super political.
Yeah. So that isn't taking a back seat to the thriller, action, suspense, aspect of the original, where the remake or reboot has way more horror elements. It feels more like a zombie movie, which, seeing the time it came out...
I called it got Michael Bay eyes a little bit, even though it doesn't have, like, crazy explosions, but compared to the original, it's, like, drastically different.
And it's not a Platinum Dunes movie, but it totally could have been.
No, it's not enough explosions. There was a few, but he would have jazzed it up with more shit blowing up.
Yeah. And
maybe throw a Transformer in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Or a Ninja Turtle. There's some sort of like mutated monster would come out of the swamp. I don't know.
Preferably 2 Transformers who are very racially...
Actually, maybe they're like the dinosaur Transformers, so it is like an animal but a Transformer at the same time.
Like, what were they? Beast
Dinobots.
Wars.
Yeah,
Beast
Wars.
Dinobots. Yeah. Yep.
Beast Wars. Or maybe it's an insect, like the Decepticons.
The Yeah, I didn't like that one.
No, but I'm just saying, like we were joking. It needs to be a monster and a transformer.
No, but now I'm actually thinking
could be a single thing.
Yeah, no, I'm like, I don't know why there hasn't been a Dino Wars or a Beast Wars movie yet. Like, but see, I don't know, because the Transformers movies, there's so fucking many of them. They might have had them in there, and I couldn't tell you.
Someone's probably I think there was. Me. I think one of the last ones.
Is
there? There was one or two Dinobots.
Okay.
In there.
I mean, I'm not gonna watch it. I'll take your word for it. I'm not wasting my fucking time on that.
I think they're fun watches, but they're just crap movies overall. You know what I mean?
I think it'd be cool to watch with maybe a group of friends, but not like I'm not gonna sit on my couch individually and just.
I've watched them all on my couch by myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're entertaining for what they are. You know what I mean? I don't go into them thinking they're gonna be fucking masterpieces.
Right. Yeah.
I laugh at Mark Wahlberg's acting in some of them. I just want to picture him being like going to the Optimus Prime, and he's like, "Hey, have you met my mother?" Like.
My sister Gore came up a few days ago, and she brought my nephew, and he was sitting on the couch, and he was watching the Transformers one with John Cena in it. I think it's one of the newer ones.
Yeah, they're like interchangeable.
Yeah, dude.
John Cena and Mark Wahlberg.
Well, Mark Wahlberg, John Cena, and Matt Damon. I think those three particularly.
I think Matt Damon a little less, but he doesn't fit the muscle. He doesn't fit the muscleness of them. Even though Mark Wahlberg is not as big as Cena, but they got that similar.
No,
look,
yeah, you could definitely tell.
Yeah,
I actually get Mark Wahlberg and the other guy I just said, Matt Damon. I actually get them confused sometimes in because they do a lot of similar type of movies. Like they'll do like these one-off action movies and this and that. It still
mind boggles me how you confuse those two. I don't get it.
I don't care enough about them. I don't mix up Ben Affleck. I don't mix up Ben Affleck with them. You know what I mean?
You shouldn't.
I just got sent a video. I just want to see this real quick. God damn it. I'll get her. I do want to give a warning.
Did Gore send you dick pics?
No, it wasn't Gore. It was actually Wednesday, if you guys didn't know.
Wednesday sent you dick pics?
No, worse.
She sent me a blue waffle inside an infected syphilis stick.
Close. It said Walmart right now, and it's a picture of like people standing in like this massive line. I'm like, what's she doing at Walmart? Hit play. She's like, hit play. Boom, butthole farting. I'm like, great. Thanks, Wednesday. Hey, anyone who's listened since before GrindHaus, obviously she's doing well enough that she could send me that bullshit. I do want to give everyone a quick warning.
Power of the fart joke.
Obviously, we're not political here. We don't want to be. We don't try to be.
We try to keep this an escape from all the bullshit of the real world and fun.
Yeah.
That's the whole purpose.
We didn't know what current day situation would be when we picked this movie, and we picked it weeks in advance, so we knew. But if you're listening to this a year or two from now, whatever, today Donald Trump said that he's going to be sending the military out to certain cities to stop the protesters for George Floyd's, the death. I'm sure everyone's going to remember this. And between us still being in quarantine and the coronavirus and the worldwide thing and all these riots, and we just so happen to be going over the Crazies,
which deals with martial law.
It might be a sensitive subject.
Yeah, in quarantine and...
If anybody was to turn off this episode in particular, especially right now, maybe a few years from now you can catch it and like whatever, I would understand. I wouldn't. I can deal with it, but if you can't, we have 14 other episodes before this that are all awesome.
Yeah, and depending on you're watching it, we might have 100 more afterwards.
My God. Yeah, seriously.
We're not going to stop anytime soon. So, yeah, if you're a little sensitive to certain topics, this is definitely one to not watch.
Yeah.
Unless you think you can handle it because it's us talking, then go for it. Give it a try.
things can't get any worse, and things can only get better. Just think of it like that. Obviously, before we get into the movie, we always tend to talk about, the production and stuff like that. We already mentioned George A. Romero.
Yeah, we've mentioned it before. It's kind of self-explanatory. I don't want to really get into.
Yeah,
if you don't know who he is,
but I will say this was the next movie he did.
Yeah.
After Night of the Living Dead, correct?
No. But close. There's 2 other movies in before that. He has Season of the Witch, right? The real Seasons of the Witch, not Halloween 3.
You have to say Halloween 3.
You have to say Halloween 3. Can't call Halloween 3 Season of the Witch because I think you're talking about this movie. And then there's always Vanilla. I don't know what that is, but yeah, but it's close. It's his 3rd movie. I'm sure the other ones were. I know Seasons of the Witch was very like smaller production, just like this one. But
yeah, I still haven't seen it.
It's okay. I mean, it's considered a classic, but it's nothing.
Yeah.
I don't think it's anything amazing. Maybe at the time it was a little more powerful, but it's not a bad movie.
Okay.
I don't think it's
probably a little hard to find, but
I have it.
Do you?
Yeah.
You have everything though. It's just it is what it is.
I have everything. I have a lot of George Romero stuff. I like George. I have a lot of.
Yeah.
We're gonna cover more of his movies down the line, like Bruiser and Night Riders and some. There's some lesser known ones. I think.
I think even at one point.
What we're gonna do with Monkey Shines and Dark Half, I think, is one episode we're thinking about like later.
And I know you said at one point, even if we did a short presentation on Scream, would even be worth kind of going over a little bit.
The Misfits music video, with Michael Graves lead singing instead of dancing in the Misfits era. Yeah, it's just really well made. Maybe we'll just do that with Bruiser because it's tied together. Maybe we'll go into that first.
Yeah.
So now we're talking too much. I think we just need to move on now. But yeah.
Yeah, no, it's fine. But eventually, look, we all know who George A. Romero is. We know what he's done. This is one of his lesser known movies because it's not in the zombie franchise
his Of the Dead series.
Yep. Now, I did see a lot of similarities with this original movie because this is the first time I've watched it. I have not seen this movie. I only seen the reboot or remake. And, I saw a lot of similarities with this movie and Return of the Living Dead. Not the virus, but the military aspect of how things were going about.
I guess at the end.
Yeah, I kind of got that vibe. I just always wondered what it would have been like if he actually did that movie.
I just now that I think about it, when did Return of the Living Dead come out?
I think 84 or 87.
Some overtones stolen from this, I think, in Return of the Living Dead with the military.
I believe so. That's what I thought while watching this movie.
I mean, I'm sure it's not the first. I'm sure this isn't the first movie. The deal. Well, like I said, we're going to get into that later. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm sure that's something to do with it because he did help make some of the Night of the Living Dead a little bit. He was like a production guy or something, right?
Yep.
He helped make the movie or some shit. I don't. I remember. I forget the exact story about it, but yeah.
Return. It was 85, and the guy who wrote Return of the Living Dead worked on the original series, and they ended up having a disagreement with where the series should go, and that's how we ended up with what we.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's when they split. So.
Yep. That would actually be interesting to cover one day as like a side note because that story actually is pretty weird.
Yeah, maybe we just cover that as this one of our little videos.
Yeah.
Just do a where are they now or what happened to,
or what could have been if they actually stayed together.
And we'll go with that funky chart of like 4,000 movies that are all tied together.
The 6 degrees of
6 degrees of Night of the Living Dead.
Oh God, it's gonna take us forever.
I know. It'd be like a 7-hour video.
Okay, so the original, 1973, it was written by Paul McCullough. Is that what you would say?
I'm looking at something else, but yeah, I'm sure that's. I'll trust you on this.
Yeah, I'm trying. He also worked on the 1990 Night of the Living Dead remake as the composer. Not really too much other than that, but it seems like he did have a little bit of a relationship with Romero. So
yeah, I was looking at obviously I can't read some of the languages, so I don't know if there's more. I can only read the English, but I was trying to see where it was called Codename Trixie. But it is listed as a USA working title, and then another working title called The Mad People. So it actually has 3 titles in the USA, I guess, depending on the cut or where you got it from or who produced it.
A working title is also sometimes just what they call something while they're making it, so they don't put the name.
Yeah,
out.
But it says Codename Trixie on the actual intro. So I'm wondering if there's a couple different cuts of the movie, maybe.
Do you remember your DVD when you did watch it? Do you remember if that title card was cut out?
I'm pretty sure it's not in there.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty sure it's not there. It could be. It's been a while since I watched that DVD.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was also called Codename. It had the 3 titles in West Germany too, which makes sense because we kind of, at the time when there was an East and West Germany, we kind of controlled West Germany with Britain. So. Yeah.
A lot of American influence over on that side. Mr. Hasselhoff.
But the rest of them, there's no translations, so.
Oh, okay.
They actually show them in their native tongue, and there's a good 30 different places this was released. So.
Christ.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay.
Yeah, it's some odd release dates though, because it was 73 in the U.S., Italy got it in 74. UK got it in 78, France 79, West Germany 79, Mexico 83. Japan 2010, Uruguay 2017. I'm assuming these are
DVD releases.
Maybe. But then again, some places might not have. They might have been banned. It might have been banned at one point in time because of that sensitive. True. It is possible, because
the Japan video nasty list.
As fucked up as Japan is, they block a lot of, they let the fucked up horror and gore and stuff like that. When it comes to political stuff, a lot of that stuff's banned, And Uruguay, I think was probably, I'm just fucking talking out of my ass. I think that might have been communist at one point in time. Or some crazy dictator run, you know what I mean?
At one point when the USSR had all their different territories, I'm sure Uruguay was part of that communist regime, which would be very believable of why this movie got a late release there. Makes complete sense.
Well, well, Uruguay is in South America. It's not.
Yeah, but USSR had other territories that they controlled that weren't just connected to them.
Sort of. They didn't control them. The ones they controlled were the ones in actual Asia.
Right. Those were the ones that they were actually
friendly with other communist countries like Cuba and whatnot.
But the ones that were actually connected were considered Russia, Soviet Union.
Yeah.
It wasn't Russia then.
Yeah,
they were still.
Yeah.
But Russia had their fingers in just about everything. But so did the America. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That was the whole thing back then.
America had, they had some islands and Philippines at
Guam
one point in time.
And Philippines. Yeah. Yep. It's crazy how the world evolved to what it is today.
I kind of just typed in Uruguay. I was trying to see if there's anything communist or whatnot.
You type it in and your computer's like, shut up, you're gay. No, come on. Uruguay. Oh, man. I love how most of Romero's movies
Revolutionary
take place in
Communist Party of Uruguay. The Revolutionary Communist Party is established in 1972. Now it's part of the leftist Popular Unity. Its Secretary General is Ricardo Cohen. So I don't know if they're still communist. Maybe they're more of a socialist country now, but looks like they were communist in the 70s. Like so that would make sense. That would make sense why this movie was blocked for the longest time and didn't come out till it's just an odd.
Well, I often tell people I have a buddy from Romania, and he told me a story years ago that he didn't see a banana till 1991.
Really?
And
that's crazy.
I mean, and I said, like, not even, like, he's like, no, I knew what bananas were. He's like, because we had TV and we would get a lot of American stuff. You know, he's like, I'd always see it. He's like, but then in 91, when we got away from Russia, or we, you know, became Romania, we started getting imports. And he's like, dude, I ate a banana every day for like 6 years. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, because they couldn't get certain food, being a communist controlled their market and stuff is all.
Yep. He said if he never ate another piece of rye bread in his entire life, he'd be okay with it. Because, like, that was, like, the main thing he said.
I feel like rye bread is an acquired taste in general, but if that's all you got to eat, it's got to suck.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
I don't mind rye bread, but, like, a salami and mustard sandwich and like a Reuben or something. But other than that, dude, I wouldn't eat it normally.
People look at me weird when I say a salami and mustard sandwich. You're like, wait, nothing else? Like, yeah, I mean, you can put a little cheese on it if you want. But salami and mustard are like fucking hot dogs and ketchup or whatever. Like, they're perfect. It's not weird. I'm not weird.
I like salami and cream cheese. You just roll it up and put a little cream cheese in the middle. No, it's not.
That's very... Cream cheese?
It's an Italian thing, man.
Cream cheese?
Yes. Dude, I'm telling you. If you have cream cheese in your fridge and you have salami right now, after this podcast, go put a little bit of cream cheese in the fucking thing, roll it up, just a little bit, just like and eat it.
Like a spread, not like a glob, like a spread, like a thin...
No, you can put a little glob, roll it up into a little ball or a little fucking, you know,
like
taquito.
A joint, like a...
Yeah.
A salami taquito.
A little salami taquito. And just
it's a
eat
good
that
band
shit.
name. Oh.
It's like a... Italian punk band, Salami Taquito.
An Italian ska band. Yeah. We got something, the trumpets.
They want to be like a Southern California Mexican style music, but they're Italian, so they're.
It's like the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, but like not fucking. Yeah.
No, it's really good. I have a bunch of Italian friends over here, and I don't live in Jersey anymore, but.
No, but Jersey, Philly.
It's a thing, man. It's a thing, man.
Yeah, but a lot of Italian Philadelphians also call sauce gravy, and you're fucking wrong.
That's a New Jersey and New York thing too.
Yeah, well, I mean, I knew people in Delaware who came from Philly, and they called it gravy, and I never heard that.
Gravy is the sauce with
ragu
with meat in it.
It's ragu. It's the veal cutlet, the beef, the pork.
Yeah, my grandfather called it gravy. He's from fucking northern Italy. He was born there.
My dad's from there. My dad said gravy goes on mashed potatoes. I don't know.
I know, but they called it when you cooked it with the meat stocks and it like that. It was a gravy. When you made it without it, it was just sauce.
Yeah. Now from like central to southern. They call it the ragu, and actually the American company Ragu got their name from that Sunday sauce. God, now I'm hungry. What the fuck?
So we're getting a lot. All right, so this is crazy though. So we're going back to the movie. So it's another movie. It takes place in Pittsburgh, because all those movies take place not Pittsburgh, PA. Sorry, Pennsylvania. Its budget was $275,000. Can you imagine making a movie for that and being like, granted he wasn't huge yet, but like, you know what I mean?
No,
like,
but a movie of this caliber.
Yeah, because this movie seemed a lot bigger than the budget, even though some of the effects are kind of not the greatest. But it is the 70s, and they had no budget.
I call it Squib City. But it doesn't take you out of the film. It doesn't take you out of the experience. It's not like that bad. You know,
it only had a mono sound mix, I guess, because of the budget.
Yeah, well, they probably only could afford to run one channel. Yeah, that makes sense. But imagine having such a small budget that you can't afford a second microphone. You know, like, I mean, shit. If you're trying to cut corners anywhere you can.
Filmed in Butler County, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And it was Evans City, Pennsylvania was the town.
Yep.
In the movie, and there's actually is an Evans City, Pennsylvania that was filmed there. Zenolope, Pennsylvania, and there is some, I guess some filming was done in Pittsburgh also, so I wasn't wrong when I said that. But
now I see a number for box office. I don't want to believe that. This
No,
movie didn't make the money back?
no. On their box office, there is no.
Oh, I'm on IMDb or
Yeah.
Wikipedia.
Oh, okay. There, it's just on their box office. It just has a budget, so.
Okay. So yeah, it says on Wikipedia that the budget was 275,000 and it made in box office 143,000.
Yeah, but it might have only been released there, though.
Yeah, minimal release. I mean, if you incorporate all the other countries that eventually got this, I'm sure this movie made money eventually.
Yeah, DVD sales and other stuff. I'm sure they made their money back, but you got to understand, it's the 70s then. There was no VHS yet, no DVD, just Grindhouse theaters. Like, this was definitely a Grindhouse release in the Pittsburgh local area, probably only. It probably didn't really make it. Maybe a film festival.
It might have made it to New York at some point. Yeah.
Very limited run, you know?
Yeah, oh yeah.
And they changed their movies a lot. It's not like those movies sat there for
a month.
No. More,
every week you had different stuff. Because they only had single screens or maybe even a double if you're lucky.
If you're lucky. So you get like the same 3 movies all day if you're maybe 2 all day.
Now, I will say, when they did remake or reboot this, they actually did have to pay for the license. I bet you that they made more money selling the license to remake this movie than the movie actually made.
It's a possibility.
I have to move my microphone a little bit. I got to get a new arm, or I got to grease this one or something. I don't know.
Well, if you go into time in one of those Android movies, you can definitely get a new arm.
Yeah, that'd be the first thing I'd do.
We get a robo spine. That's the first thing I do.
Oh, spine. Yeah. I think I'd go with knees. Or legs, just legs in general. As we mentioned earlier, this movie might have some sensitive material, blah, blah, blah. There is a quarantine in the movie, and the military's involved. And it seems... Maybe it didn't seem 45, 50 years ago.
I'm sorry. I'm just making faces over here. It's not what you're doing. I'm just reading plot keywords. Like, has our world become so sensitive that cigarette smoking is now a plot keyword to warn people that people smoke cigarettes in movies?
Just because.
Like, I know, like, just for instance, when Gears 5 came out, the anti-smoking whatever coalition paid Gears company, the coalition, to remove any characters that smoked cigarettes out of the game. They gave them like $4 million because they're like, kids are going to play this game. Well, it's an 18+ game. They're not supposed to play this game.
Yeah,
so
it's up to the parents.
It's up to the parent, not you. So they actually bend the knee.
Oh my God. Because
they were, I guess they...
Like Truth or whatever, one of those anti-tobacco.
Yeah, one of those. Yeah, they paid the company millions of dollars to remove any, like, characters in the background that might have been smoking. Like, it's a war-torn fucking apocalyptic game. Post like, we're dealing with monsters. People are gonna fucking smoke cigarettes. I mean, you walk in one of the game scenes and it's literally a slaughterhouse in this town because it's like, you know, it's almost back to Stone Ages at the meat markets and stuff, and you see crazy shit. But someone smoking a cigarette is like, you know, there definitely have been people.
That's
smoking
what they're concerned about.
Yeah,
because kids are gonna play this game.
Yeah, but anyway, I just see this. It was listed as a virus, biological weapon, grindhouse film, cult director, cigarette smoking, or those are like the five top ones out of 300 and something. I just.
That just blows
I just
me
can't
away.
believe that cigarette smoking now. I you know what? I've actually seen that on like HBO and places like that now. It'll show cigarette smoking in the beginning. I'm like, give me a fucking break.
Have you noticed how many movies recently have been coming out that do not feature cigarette smoking anymore?
Yeah, it's probably because they're getting paid. They're paying.
Yeah, absolutely. The last movie I can remember coming out that featured very heavy cigarette smoking was Constantine. That guy smoked like every other scene. I actually
trying to think, because Constantine, when he did his series, did he smoke in the series? Is that what you're talking about? Or you're talking about Keanu
No,
Reeves
in the movie. Keanu Reeves.
Because they made
movie.
a series. There's one season of Constantine with an actor, and it's actually really good. And then it didn't get another thing. But then he's in the series Legends of Tomorrow. The same guy, the same actor. They crossed him
playing
over.
Constantine.
Yeah, they crossed him over into that show. Because that's in that Arrow universe.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So they deal with a lot of black magic and dark spells and whatever because of the time travel and artifact, whatever they deal with trying to change time.
So yeah, Constantine would definitely fit in there.
He's not like 100% regular, but he was. I think he's in the series more now in season 3 or 4, whatever 5 or whatever they're up to.
Yeah.
But yeah, he made an appearance a little bit here and there, but I think he's not like a full-time member of the ship, of the crew.
Right.
But yeah, he doesn't smoke in this, I don't think. He might. I don't remember. I'm trying to remember. Just, stupid things.
I just know in the movie. Yeah, I just know in the film, I remember vaguely seeing him.
That was one of the main plot points. He had cancer. He had lung cancer.
Yeah.
Then the devil took his lung cancer away.
Yep.
So he was like, I want you to fuck up again, basically.
Continue to smoke. Nothing's gonna happen. One thing I read about this movie that was pretty cool. It says the budget for the Crazies was approximately $270,000, and it was Romero's first union film. But he also employed a lot of actors from Pittsburgh and non-professionals from Evans City and Zanellope.
Town folks.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously they didn't have their SAG cards, I thought when you did a union movie, you could only hire
SAG. It might be now. It's probably, he's filming in 72 probably. I'm sure things were a little different back then.
Yeah, a little less
you might have to have like SAG main actors, but maybe like background people extras were allowed to be whatever.
Okay.
It's possible. I don't know the laws. I'm not a movie maker, but I'm just assuming that there has to be some sort of stipulation. I think even the extras have to.
I want to say, because now, if you appear on film, you have to have a SAG card.
Which is ridiculous.
There's a not documentary. There's this propaganda film from the 70s that a priest put out, and it has his name and his wife's name and...
Sorry.
What's that?
No, I was just thinking. I was thinking out loud.
And it had like 5 or 6. No, it's fine. It has like 5 or 6 of the actors' names, and then it just has a little screen that says "and other guests," and that was their way of getting around the fact that none of them had a SAG card, so they just weren't credited. What
I was thinking out loud is, I wonder if music videos fall in the same category.
What is your like your
like with SAG? Do they have the actor cards? Like, if you have people in your video?
You're saying the main musicians, not like extras or nothing?
No, not the musicians, because the musicians are musicians. But I'm talking like if you hire people in the background, if it's like a movie, like the video itself is like, do they have to?
I don't know.
I wonder what I mean, technically, I'm not technically. I am in a music video for that band Hailstorm with the roller derby back in the day.
Oh right.
She did a roller derby.
Do you remember
video.
that song?
No, I actually have a copy of the video on my computer somewhere, but I don't know off the top of my head. But they released another video of that song, so like it's not like the main video.
Oh, so if you search for the video, that's not the video.
You'll find it. It'll
up.
Come up, but you'll also the other video will come up too. But it was on. It was the Fuse like video of the week for like.
We might have to share that on the GrindHaus page. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I was playing a referee.
No shit. Fucking got a movie star with it.
Yeah. We let someone else get the main whatever, but you clearly see me skating and playing jam ref in the background. Not playing, I mean, I actually did jam ref, but...
I want to say you were jam ref?
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's easy. It's one of the easiest things to do.
I just saw a bad experience with the jam ref before when I went and saw Gore. He was skating backwards, and I guess he wasn't looking constantly behind him, and he literally like tripped backwards over a fucking like a ice box or some kind of box that was there.
Well, it's on him, man. He's an idiot.
Yeah. Cracked his head and all that shit. It was bad. That's why. Yeah. I don't think any of the skaters got hurt that bad that game.
We shot for, I think, like 12 hours. I got paid like $120 or something like that.
Wow.
I got paid to be in it. And it filmed in the Asbury Park Convention Hall where we had our games.
Okay.
So it was fun. They just wanted to do a video in that venue because it's an iconic venue.
Right.
And then they were like, there's a roller derby team that's in here. Fuck it. Let's film a video with them.
Yeah.
You know? So
nice.
It was supposed to be way more complicated, but they didn't. They ran out of time shooting things, and you know how things go.
Oh, especially with shooting.
We're supposed to have a more prominent role in the video, and never did, unfortunately.
But then you said that wasn't even the real video that they released for that song.
No, it was at first, but they changed. I wonder if, like, I don't know why they released another video for it. I don't know why, but
right.
Maybe they had better ideas. Maybe they didn't like it eventually after a while. I don't know. It didn't match the song. I mean, it had nothing to do with you know what I mean? It was just like one of those.
Yeah, but a lot of videos do that.
But people complained. So that was like the big complaint about it. Yeah, people were like, "This has nothing to do with roller derby. Why is this?" Not even roller derby people. They're like, "What is this? Why is this video?" I don't know.
Do you remember, before I move on to the next thing though, because we are talking about derby, do you remember a time in like the late 90s when roller derby actually made it on TV for a while?
But it wasn't like really roller derby though. Wasn't that roller jam?
It wasn't flat track. It was the bank.
Yeah, but that was the roller jam though, wasn't it? That with the fucking figure eight and the wall. That one you're talking on the alligator pit?
No figure eight, nothing like that.
Just a regular.
But it was only like a summer. Like they showed like maybe 8 or 10 matches, and then that was it. I remember seeing
some of
the
people I skated were in some of that stuff. That's why I was wondering.
Really?
But when I was skating, we have a bank track.
Oh, see, I thought you guys were only doing flat. I've actually never seen a bank track in real life.
Yeah, because if you ever like Gore might have skated on it.
Yeah.
Whether she played an actual official game up there or not, she might have skated on. Like our league had both, but we did mostly flat track stuff, especially as the men's team. Because there's no other like really men's team. We had played a couple of games up there against other teams, but nothing.
But it would probably be hard because a lot of teams don't have the bank track.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Not a lot of teams have a fucking a space that have their own. Like this league is lucky to have their own warehouse where they can store stuff. You know.
Yeah, they're using like roller rinks or gyms.
They had enough room for a bank track and a flat track, like practice. You know what I mean? They have two spaces. Got lucky. I mean, the floor is kind of shit, but on the one, but you know, the bank track's also shit too. But
yeah, but you guys had your own space, so
yeah. I mean, got to skate with some old school bank track legends from like the '70s too, back in the day.
So they'd still strap on the skates and hit it, and
they used to. Well, I never did them because I didn't want to do it, but they used to do every year, like an old like fixed. You know, it's still it's like wrestling. You know, it's still fucking still hitting each other, but you know, it's like outcome determined. You know, they would do a couple live jams here and there just for entertainment value, but there'd be like say there's 40 jams total. You know what I mean? Like 25 or 30 of them might be fixed. You know, they have a script,
right?
You know?
But they'd still want to have. It's like a Harlem Globetrotter game.
Yeah, and then they have the rest of them are just live. Obviously, unless something crazy happens, they're not going to affect the score. You know what I mean? Just to keep it a little more interesting, because people can tell like somewhat like when stuff's exaggerated and fixed,
especially people who watch it regularly.
Yeah, and then you got to be willing to sell too.
Yeah, you can't go out there like Bushwhackers or Hogan and just fucking pop right back up. You know, like.
No, but I mean, like sometimes, like if someone hits you just right, you got to sell it. You got to fall down your butt.
Oh yeah,
I wasn't about breaking my tailbone because of me and my size. I didn't want to sell too much. That's why I never really.
I don't blame you.
Like, because they would do drills where they would skate and blow the whistle, and everyone had to drop down your ass. Like, because there was like old school people when I first started. They still had these old school skaters still trying to coach like the old school ways.
Yeah.
Like I lost a ton of weight at one point in time, and whatever. But when I came into skating again, I was like almost as heavy as I am now. Like I'm 305 pounds now.
Yeah,
like,
you're a big guy to be fucking moving on skates.
Well, but when I came back into skating, I was like 270, You know, like, I don't need to be throwing my ass on my tailbone every fucking 4 or 5 seconds at 270. I know that our track has more give than most tracks, but I don't need to break my tailbone. I got to go to work. I'm not getting paid. This isn't like a. So I kind of stayed clear away from that and just really focused. And I got lucky that they decided to want to do flat track focus, and they changed rule sets and all. Like,
but you're not getting paid millions of dollars. That's
you weren't getting paid anything.
Right, exactly.
I was actually paying to play.
Yeah, you got to pay your dues, obviously.
You know, like, yeah. I played the closest thing to professional derby in a long time because of what we did, but that was, you were still paying. It still came out of our pocket. You know, some of those people were Olympian skaters. They skated in the Olympics for other things. Some of them skated in those roller jams and all this stuff. We played a lot of.
But you got to travel, so I mean, it's fun. You got to meet people. I mean, it's an experience. 3
different countries and skate against some high level players. And got
to kick some ass. It's funny because you're just talking about like practicing falling, and the next thing that I had up, it said no Hollywood stuntmen were used in the Crazies. Local firemen and licensed firework professionals.
Well, there was one stuntman. The guy in the beginning was a stuntman. That burned his house down. Yeah, I read it. He was a stunt, and then the children were the cinematographer's children, and then the wife or something was someone.
Yeah, the wife was married to one of the writers.
I saw that or whatever. Yeah. So like, but that guy was a stuntman in the movie, and they just used him to do the fire scenes. And
yeah, if you go on the IMDb, like, it has 13 items. The third one down, it says no Hollywood stuntmen were used in the Crazies. Local firemen and licensed firework professionals handled all the action sequences, including the creation and employment of blood squibs. So they made their own squibs.
Yeah, well, I read elsewhere, but I read otherwise elsewhere. But
I wonder how hard it is to make a squib.
I don't know, but the burning of the building was a real
controlled burn.
Well, yeah, the fire company was going to do a burn for their training. And,
I saw that in the remake too.
They gave George permission to film it, and that's what you get, film of him filming them doing their training. Yeah, procedure.
They did that in the original or the remake as well. In Georgia, they actually got up with the fire company, and they had this house, and the owner's like, if you guys want to burn it down, and the fire company came out, did their training, and that might be a Huh?
They just let him film it, so it looks like
that might be a common thing in films. When you see a house burning, it's like get the local fire company out and let.
It depends. Sometimes, sometimes I know there's a few movies out there where the places were scheduled to be demolished. So like you'll see a big building get blown up, like that actually gets blown up.
Yeah.
Because the building was scheduled to be demolished by the city, so they're like, hey, we're gonna pay you a ton of money to let us film here for a week or two before you blow it up, and then can you just blow it up as part of our filming? And
you mentioned that last week with you mentioned that last week with Nemesis, and the opening shots. That whole area actually looked like a demolished stadium or something.
Yeah, it was something. Yeah, it looked like it was demolished, or part of it was going up, and maybe there was a stadium that was demolished next to it, and they were building a new one next. I don't know, but like you don't get places like that anymore. Like in movies, they don't film like that. Like that was a legit place. And then later they were in an abandoned steel mill in that movie.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of that stuff gets knocked down. It's
very rare. It might be liability like stuff though.
That's why they got permits and throwing people money, insurance. It's all part of
their. Oh yeah.
They're part of their thing.
Did you have anything else on the trivia that you wanted to go over?
No. It's not really much to go over on these movies, trivia and stuff wise. I think you're just gonna get the meat and potatoes of the movies and see where it goes.
Yeah, there wasn't really a whole. I mean, like, if you guys are interested, go on IMDb and check it out. There's probably nothing on here that anyone would really.
I'm sure you can go on some random websites, but I try to keep. We go over a lot of stuff, so I try to keep it to a minimum. Unfortunately, that bites us in the ass sometimes. We will miss a cool story here and there. I'll find out after we film, but
we usually do catch up on that eventually, though.
Yeah, it'll be mentioned somewhere else.
But. Yeah. Well,
there's no real worthwhile the actors to talk about. I mean, maybe some of these people are in something, but it's the 70s. You know, none of these names stand out to me, unfortunately.
It's the 70s, but it's also like a low-budget Grindhouse movie. Mm-hmm. It's not like the 70s where it was like early Pacino.
Well, I mean, you never know. One of these people might have, popped off somewhere. Because you have those Troma movies and Full Moon. Every once in a while, you get like a huge actor now, but that was like their first movie. It's like Leonardo DiCaprio. His first movie was Critters 3. But he tries to get that denounced. Like, it's just weird. Like, who cares, man? It's your first fucking movie, man. Like,
I think he wants people to remember him for his first movie being Gilbert Grape.
Yeah, but that's just ego, I guess.
It is absolutely 100%.
Yeah.
Fuck, if my first movie was Critters 3, I'd be fucking ecstatic.
Yeah. I mean, Critters 3 sucks compared to Critters 1 or 2, but you know what I mean? Like,
no, but still, Critters, whatever.
Yeah. It's Critters, but that's what you get.
The only thing I did pull up was the girl in this movie, the main girl. She was also in Hercules in New York,
dude,
which
Hercules
you've brought up like 10 times.
You've probably still never seen this movie. I just want him to see this. It's
because I've seen the Lou Ferrigno Hercules movies.
Yeah, there actually is one funny thing about the names, though. If you look really closely and you look through and you see Dr. Brookmeyer, if you read his name too quick, it looks like it says Walt Disney instead of Will Disney is his name.
Yeah. Walt Disney, yeah.
This
is the only movie he's ever been in.
Yeah, it's Walt Disney's only movie before his head was cut off and frozen.
Well, we don't know that. We don't know. Hypothetically, maybe.
No,
I actually think he was.
It says Will Disney, but yeah, it's just funny.
I think he was cryogenically frozen.
I agree.
I just don't know when he's coming back.
Like, there's no me and Chewy used to watch movies, and we'd purposely watch the credits just to find some funny names. And we haven't really done that, but I think that's something we should look into more.
Well, I found one. This guy, his name is Harry Spillman. I've never heard. I've heard Pillman.
It's not really funny though. I've heard Spillman. Spillman's normal.
Is it?
Yeah.
Never heard it. I don't know when I think spill. I guess it's just I don't use the word enough. I don't know.
Yeah, Spillman's kind of normal. The closest thing to a funny name here is Bill Thunhurst. But that's not.
What is it? Thunhurst?
Bill Thunhurst. Yeah. There was this movie we watched. I know we get sidetracked a lot with this one, unfortunately, and it's gonna be a long one. But there's this movie, and I gotta remember what it was. But the guy was Scenic Driver. What is his movie role name? And it was this crazy. But the movie took place in Australia, so he had this crazy name. It was I gotta figure out what it was. I gotta talk to Chewy. Maybe he remembers, or I gotta remember what the movie was.
Okay.
It's something in the future I have to look up. But yeah, it was I was with a name like that, I don't trust this guy to drive me around anywhere. It was some crazy fucking blah 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 thunder mass or something. You know what I mean? It was this crazy.
What was the movie?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't remember any of this.
Okay,
I just bring it up
so
as
we're gonna have
funny.
to do a little research.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's just crazy name, but yeah, he was listed as Scenic Driver. I guess he just drove the actors and actresses around, but he looked like a real fucking.
Yeah, but he's not like Morgan Freeman driving Miss Daisy.
No, but he looked like a real mongoloid Australian outback looking guy.
Oh, if you watch the original the Mel Gibson movies, the fucking
Mad Max,
I bet you there's some crazy names in there because they had some fucked up people in those movies.
Yeah, it was either that or it might have been Crocodile Dundee, the original, when it was. I don't know, but
yeah.
And then there was some Scandinavian ones. The one guy was Thorson Thrusterhurst or something.
That's a good porn name.
Yeah, no, it was totally a porn name. It was Thorson Thrustmore or Thrusthurst or whatever. It was his legit name, and we're just this is amazing.
A good fucking name, yeah. Jeez.
It's totally a porn name, but yeah, it's these crazy fucking names.
Now, we do have this movie pulled up, but we're not doing a scene for scene like we've done with the other movies, the last couple movies we've done, because we're also talking about the remake. But we will go over, some basic talking points of, the original more so than the remake. I actually thought the intro scene of this movie set up pretty good suspense. Basically, you have this little girl. She's walking around her house. I guess she shares a room with her brother, or she heard her brother, and her brother's like teasing her with a flashlight and hiding in the dark and doing all this and that. And
yeah, and they're young. They're like 6, 7 years old, probably.
Yeah. That's about right. The little girl, she sleeps with a stuffed animal.
She might be 5. The brother might be like 6 or 7. They're like a year or two apart, but they're young.
Now, the little brother's in the basement looking up at the little sister. Little sister's telling him to come up, and he actually sees a shadow behind her, and he runs up the stairs like to get her, and they see this guy is in the house, and he's just like destroying the fucking place.
Yeah, going crazy with a golf club or something.
Yeah, and like then he like gets the gasoline out, and
so itchy.
So the little girl goes upstairs, and she tries to wake up her mom, like, hey, what's going on? And, you don't see it at first, but one of the scenes you see blood on the sheet.
Yeah, she pulls the sheet a little further down, and it looks like the neck is cut, and there's just a big blood stain on the on the thing, and
nothing special practically yet.
Yeah,
obviously,
they don't show it. Yep.
Yeah, Greg Nicotero wasn't working on this.
There was one part in that where the little boy or the little girl goes, it feels wet here, and then the little boy's like, oh, it smells like kerosene.
Yeah.
So like you realize like something's going on, and they hide in they hide in the closet, I think, in there or something, or is that the other one?
I think they do that after they discover the mom.
Yeah.
But then you get like an outside exterior shot, and you see the house is starting to catch fire. Now, during this scene. Is where you would get the title card where it says Lee Hessel presents the Crazies. But on the version that we both watched...
Well, this one just said the Crazies.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But on the one that we watched, it didn't have the title card here. It had codename Trixie.
Yeah. That just shows there's 2 prints right there now.
Yep. So we've actually discovered... the original print and the other print. Now, you said there was a third, so we might have to keep our eye out for that one as well. But yeah, the house is burning, and we cut to a scene where, you got a guy and a girl in a bed, and you hear the fire siren. So obviously this guy...
Well, you find out that he's a fireman, and you find out she's a nurse in this scene, basically. And they both get called in due to what happened. The children are burned from the fire. They did escape. They didn't die. They have to put the house out. You get to see some boobies here. I mean, she has terrible, like...
Oh, so is that what you call them?
60s, 70s hair, but...
I didn't... Listen.
Some of it's nice,
I'm not even going to go down that road. I'm not... They're not even worth a grade. I'll give you that.
No, they get better later. I mean, right now, it's just a little nip slip going on, but...
Yeah, but she gets out of bed and gets dressed. You just said she's going to the doctor's because she got a phone call. He's got the fire call, so they go to their areas.
It's how the age of the movies. It's like a little more lenient then. Now they'd have some fucking stripper playing her or something. Some
as
girl
they
with
should.
Some big implants flopping around.
If you're gonna charge me $18 for a movie ticket, I want to see what I want to see. All right. They cut to the fire hall. Everyone's getting dressed. They're saying that
nothing wrong with this naked lady. That's all I'm saying.
No. But I ain't giving her a fucking grade. Fuck that. You can. They cut to the fire hall.
She gets like a B.
No.
She has B class boobies. She has F hair though, which is horrible hair.
Yeah, it looks like they took. Never mind.
She has a mushroom.
I'm afraid with everything else that we're gonna be getting into in this movie. Like this is like the last thing I want to bitch about.
I'm just trying to be a little lighthearted before we get into like real serious.
I know
shit.
That's what I'm saying. Like I don't even want to. The whole movie's on a fucking downer. Okay, guys, it's just toughen up. God damn it.
So do you want to just skip to where she gets into the office?
Well, before the office, they go to the fire hall, and they have a little interaction with the main character, David. He has his partner, and they're getting ready. And they said
they're waiting for him. He's late.
Yep. And they said that the fire's big because one guy said he saw it over the hill or over his house or something.
But you got to remember, this is an area where it's all farms and open fields, and so you're going to see shit from farther away. And
yeah. And a small town, everyone knows everyone, so they already knew the property. Yep. They knew, you know what I mean? They knew they had kids. So yeah, you know, the firefighters, they make their way, and then the nurse, she shows up to the doctor's office, and, you know, her boss doesn't have it, but there's a doctor in there. He's wearing the gas mask.
Well, yeah, there's a doctor. She walks in, and there's a man wearing a gas mask dealing with children, and she's like, "Who are you? Where's the doctor?" He's like, "He's in the office dealing with Major so-and-so, and
Major Ryder."
Yeah. So now
super gay name.
So now, like you see, it's the military presence makes its first appearance. There's guys now in biosuits with the gas mask on top of it. They're trying to set up a communication center. Things are crazy, and he's yelling at her like, "Hey, get your shit together. You're the nurse. I need your help. You know, get your stuff. Get me some syringes. Get me needles. The little girl just died." He's like, "I think I can save the little boy. Like, come on. We don't have time to argue here. Let's just get going."
Pretty much take my orders at what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But she doesn't know this guy. You know?
Yeah. Well, and then you get like the kind of the big thing. It's easily missed. They start talking about how you said this would never happen. It wasn't supposed to get this far. You weren't, you know, like...
He said that there was a 99% chance that it wasn't going to happen. But that still leaves that 1% where...
So something happened. The doctor and you assume higher level people up at this point. At least I did. Like the mayor and stuff knew about something. There was some sort of chemical or bio leak or whatever, something, because the military's here quarantining, even though you don't see anything yet necessarily, except for the father going crazy. Obviously, with the movies, and you just suspect something's going on.
And there's intermediate scenes being cut up where they're bringing in like old mixing boards and stuff and trying to set up while they're talking. So they're accommodating this office as
that's what I'm saying. They're trying to build like an outpost, like a communication center here. That's what I'm saying. They were building so they can try to set up their quarantine and whatnot.
Now we also do get the scene with the higher up, the black guy. I believe he's a general.
Yes.
And basically, he's on the other line, and the whole scene is him packing a suitcase and telling him he's going to be there probably in a couple hours.
Yeah, he'll be on the plane right away. So then here's more of that. I wouldn't call it stock footage, but it's of that house burning. It sort of is in a way, because it's, you know, they're just...
When they show the firefighters... Yeah, it's actually... You can tell that's a zoom lens. Yeah. Like, they're standing far away because the firefighter's like, guys, like... You got to be back here. So they got their strongest zoom lens, and they try to get...
Yeah. And then you could tell the difference between the actors, you know, because they're like guerrilla style, like he said, right on top of them, filming everything. And then when you see firefighters fighting the fire, like you said, it's on a zoom lens, or they're far away.
Yep.
They're talking about how on the way over here, they've seen some roadblocks set up in the military. And there was more than just a couple, like a truck or two. He's like, there's a couple hundred guys, like 100 or 200 guys. And
but so you got to understand, 200 guys for a town of maybe 1,500 is a big deal.
It's a big deal
for
to them. Yeah, they're just this podunk redneck town, basically.
Yeah.
You know. So, and now they're also talking about how the dudes in the back of the car are locked up. Because they were talking with the sheriff. They're trying to get some info out of the sheriff. But even he's being a little standoffish, but he also doesn't 100% know what's going on either. But he's trying not to play his card, his hand, basically.
Right.
But they're like, oh, you know, it's like he was just all crazy and stuff, but now he kind of snapped out of it. Almost seems like he knew what he did. And he's...
Well, they said when they showed up, he was laughing hysterically. Yeah. But now that he like snapped out of it and like he's remorseful and stuff. But you actually see in the scene, he goes back to kind of like crazy mode. Like after being remorseful. So like they're switching between normal and whatever this virus or whatever's going on is taking hold.
Yeah. So then now we cut back to the medic station. They're putting up UV lights, which is something they do in movies a lot for bio stuff, you know. I mean, I'm sure there's some truth to it to a certain extent somewhere, but not for everything.
in the old movies,
it's always
it was
UV
a way
lights.
to cheat to get proper lighting in a scene that you couldn't necessarily do with the budget of actual light. You know what I mean?
Well, no, they're just putting up all these UV like black lights up to like make it seem like they're building like this
killing.
Yeah,
like it's gonna kill the whatever.
Yeah, like
but
sterilized.
A lot of the older movies were doing that because they needed, like, they were actually shooting indoors, and they needed the light because they do put off fucking UV lights bright.
Yeah, but these are different. These are like black light UV.
See, these I thought they were like blue, like a hue.
but I think it's because it doesn't pick up it's like old. It's not like black lights like we remember them. That's what it's supposed to be, but the technology wasn't.
Right.
And plus it's on film. It doesn't look exactly the same,
But it does
they're not,
brighten up. When you stand next to it, you get brighter.
Yeah, but you can still see a blue tone. It's not like fluorescent bulbs where it's going to light the room up, though. It's a little different. It's a different color.
Yeah, it's not going to light up a whole room, but you can see in a scene where they don't have a spotlight, these lights can at least put something out that you'd be able to see.
Yeah. So, also in this, they're giving, it seems like some sort of inoculations, or they're calling it super antibiotics in this to help keep you from getting whatever
that's the medical term, super antibiotics.
Yeah. So the doctor talked to the nurse because she's pregnant. He didn't want her to get dosed with. He might have gave her the shot. I'm not sure, but
I think he said one for you and one for David.
Yeah, he didn't do it for her yet, but he said do it later. Yeah, because he gave her an extra one for David and told her to sneak out. He didn't want her to get mixed up in this.
Yep. Don't let them see you leave.
So now he's running a distraction. She gets in her car and takes off, and they sort of see her. Like one dude that kind of chases after her, but doesn't really do nothing yet. They have other shit to worry about. It's like one person, I guess. So
now I gotta say something, and I think it's really cool. If you look at the poster for this movie, the main picture is a guy wearing that all-white biohazard suit and the mask. Everybody in the army, you would think, they're in the army, they're wearing camo. Everybody who represents the army in this movie is wearing those white biohazards. It's almost iconic to this. You know what I mean? I think it's really cool.
Well, these are they're like a fast action special response team. They're not like your usual it's not like your National Guard or your usual military
infantry or something like that. Yeah.
It's not like these are like a special tactical group that trained for this type of thing. So I think we should cut to the church scene. It's just like a minute or two up. So that's pretty important, just what he says, and then it cuts to the meeting, which is even more important.
Yep.
Like after that. So in the church, you have the priest. It's like a town meeting. I don't even think there's 1,500 people in this town. I think it's even less than that. It might be like 500 to 1,000, if that. Because they're having a meeting in this church. The church isn't that big. I think it's even a smaller town. But anyway, so he's saying, you should make your announcement later. And he's like, no, I need to do it now. You don't understand. He's like, I have the authority to do this whether you're with me or not. He's like, I need to make this announcement. So they talk about the plane crashed. Because he wants to know what's really going on. He's like, a plane crashed, had this experimental vaccine, I think they called it.
Yeah, they say it's an experimental vaccine, but
it's really.
They also tied it to the monkey. They said, that's originally how it came about, which I think is kind of funny.
Yeah, so
because it wasn't a bat.
Yeah, and he's like,
ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. So he's basically like, we need to tell these people what's going on. It's in your water system because the plane crashed into the water. Then we need to round everyone up.
What's important is because they received a message originally before the military showed up. They received that message 6 days before they showed up. So they said that plane crashed 6 days ago. It's been in the water. Yeah. It's been in the ground.
Yeah, but supposedly it wasn't an issue. But it turns out that it was more black site hush hush.
Yeah.
Bioweapon.
They had to get the troops together.
Yeah, later we're going to find out it's a bioweapon. It was a need to know. They just didn't want to cause panic.
And this is where I started drawing the lines of Return of the Living Dead at this conversation here. Because I'm like, I didn't see it yet, but I'm like, man, they're going to move the military in and try keeping all this quiet because they're trying to do it right now, not telling the public. And I remember that very vividly from Return of the Living Dead. Like, the military was trying to keep everything on the down low.
I don't really remember there being too much military influence in Return of the Living, like, and
towards the end.
Yeah, no, but I mean, then you get towards the end, it picks up a little more, and then all of a sudden it just like escalated. That's what I'm saying. It went from like a bare minimum to a phone call to a general, and then he got some like crazy like, we've been looking for this canister.
The movie.
Yeah, it was like we were looking for this canister for like 20 years or something like that, like something ridiculous, and then yeah, it's just funny. And then all of a sudden it just escalated to like super military control at the end. You know, like
it literally went from maybe if it's a 90-minute movie, maybe 3 minutes of total scenes are dedicated to military stuff,
in the first hour.
And then in the last 10 minutes, it's like just full force, which is great. I love it.
A little more than 10 minutes, but yeah, it's definitely full force military at the end.
Mm-hmm. Oh, such a good movie.
Last like 20 minutes. All right, so now we're in this office. And I kind of want to listen to the scene, but then like leaves us with a little dead air because I don't remember exactly what they say. Should have wrote it down, but
all right, you go ahead and watch it, and I'll go ahead and fill some time.
All right,
ladies and gentlemen, when I was 15, I fell on it. No, I'm kidding. Just don't listen to me. Listen to the scene. I know it's going to be kind of hard because my voice is very soothing and sexy.
So right now they're talking about how if they come in hard with their quarantine and martial law.
Sorry.
I know, your gutter mind will go in there. That the townsfolk are going to resist, and they're all farmers and they're all armed. How is like 100 people going to secure this town of, you know, they didn't say a number, but we're assuming it's going to be around 500 at least at minimum.
I would say, look, I originally said 15. Let's just say 1,000.
Yeah.
Because not everyone goes to church, and they did have social scene.
But these type of, especially this time frame, these little towns, they all went to church then. You know what I mean? Like, whether you believed it or not, it's a whole other thing, but everyone went, you know.
No, but they broke up that party later in the movie, like that social.
Yeah, but this is like...
So there was people there.
But this timeline is past, though. I mean, hours have gone by.
Well, how long do you think this movie takes place? Because there are scenes during the day where they're running around and stuff.
Yeah,
I
want to say, like, this lasts, like
2 days?
Well, because later they do say the life cycle is 48 hours. So of like when you first get affected, like later.
Okay.
So I want to say that's been about 3 days towards the end of the movie.
Okay, all right.
Since the army arrived, because they do hold.
Yeah, it makes sense because it starts out at night when the fire's going on, and then you get a morning shot, then another night. Yeah. So 3 days.
About 3 days, especially if they consider the morning of that night day a day, because technically people are infected then.
Yeah.
Like so. All right, so we get into that, and in which they're right. They're worried about people rising up. You know what I mean? Which is a concern.
You're seeing it now.
Yeah, but they decide that it's better to round them up and get them to the high school, and
quarantine them.
But they're saying that it's whether they rise up or not, it's for the greater good that we don't let this turn into a pandemic that spreads, like, nationwide, basically.
They're already talking about if we had to basically wipe out this town.
Well, not yet, but they're getting there. But I'm saying
it's almost implied that, like, get them all together so it doesn't get further. Regardless, we do not want this to leave here.
Yeah,
because it would be a shit show.
Yeah,
which is true. Yeah. I mean, obviously we all know how fast something like that can spread. Yeah. So
now I let it play a little bit longer. You get like another 20, 30 seconds in. They're talking about how now they got to get a bomber up in the air with a nuke. In case it threatens to leave that town, they're just going to nuke this town and burn everything. And then they got to figure out what kind of yield to use, because obviously they just don't want to throw a Hiroshima fucking nuke. You don't need it. It's not a giant town that, you know. But I still have issues with that. Yeah, you're going to kill all the people and all, but it's still in the water supply. That water supply, if it runs like it does, because we have one of the largest aquifers underneath the tri-state area here, where a lot of people get the water, like in the country. So if it got into that, it'd be affecting, like at least 10 states probably.
Oh, easily, dude. I live up near Lake Wallenpaupack. Yeah. That lake has a dam that gives their energy to Jersey and New York. A lot of the city people, right? A lot of our water that is spring water goes to New Jersey and New York, much heavily populated areas than where I'm at. So if this happened up here, because I live in a small town, easily from Maine to South Carolina would all...
One of the towns I lived in was smaller at the time we moved there, and then they got city water right before we left, basically.
Okay.
Moved out of there, but it was all well water back then.
Yeah.
So everyone had their own wells, so you're basically taking the water out of
the ground.
Out of the ground, yeah. Like you had some basic city water for
filtration, but not
for sewer and stuff like that. But you didn't have city water running in for your faucets, your yard, sprinklers, or whatever. It was all. And then in another town where I grew up earlier, we had a well drilled for the sprinkler system, and I think for some other stuff, but we had city water. Also.
So you actually had both a well and public water. Okay.
Yeah. But it was
that's cool.
You were allowed to have it for like auxiliary uses, like a sprinkler system or
non-necessity
or a pool
water
or something. Even though we filled it up with the hose, it was still city water. But
right, yeah. That makes sense.
Set up for a sprinkler system back in the day. But yeah, I mean, you get towns like they all come from that underground aquifer, and it covers at least 10 states. It's one of the I think it's the largest one or second largest one in the country.
Well, I think it might be the second largest.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's or second, yeah.
But the population that it affects is bigger than the first.
Yeah. But it could be bigger for all we know, because it's not like we're swimming down there and figuring it out.
Yeah, we don't actually
knows how big. They just have ground scans from the top that read it. I mean, it could way deeper. And the other one could be 3 times the size for all we know. Who knows?
But we do know ours reaches New York and New Jersey, which the population alone is massive.
But it's weird how, like you said, like your stuff goes, because I grew up actually in both places I lived. I grew up near power plants when I was younger.
Yeah, me too.
Both of them had the Ciba-Geigy plant in Toms River, and then the Lacey plant in when I was living in like Matahawk in there. It's a couple towns over, but none of them really fed power to the town. Like I think the Ciba-Geigy plant powered Kentucky and some other random states, like multiple states over. It's just funny, like you're dealing with all this shit, and
why not deal with it in your backyard?
Yeah, and it would be a lot cheaper. You get your. I guess that's just not how it works. I guess I don't know.
I don't know. PP&L, a lot of the power that they do, like the nuclear power or whatever, we don't get any of that.
Yeah,
it gets stored and transferred.
That's what I'm saying. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I do want to know
wonder
how that works,
would have been cheaper, because it's coming from like nearby. It's not like you have to ship it. You're not losing a lot of the power because you're shipping it, hundreds of miles and not 1,000 miles away.
I am going to have to watch a YouTube video of how energy is actually shipped to. You know what I mean?
It's lines, obviously. It's not like they. Store it in trucks.
But I'm that.
Yeah.
Like you said, the distance from here to New York compared to my house to there is nothing.
Yeah, it can't be a lot of loss. Maybe it needs to be some sort of conversion or something. I don't know. Who knows? I'm not a fucking...
Maybe it needs time to travel to get the radiation out of it. Like take a little bit of the sting off it.
It's not funny, because where I grew up in the first town, because of that power plant, there was a lot of lawsuits because it was messing with the water system. I lived...
Yeah.
They were giving out lawsuits for people that lived within like a 1.5 mile radius. I lived 2 miles from the plant, so we were like just outside. I could have been affected by it. I could be affected by it. Who knows? Like, maybe that's part of the part why some of the reason I had problems with some of this stuff. Maybe it's because I grew up on this fucking water. Like one of the guys I worked with, he worked part time at this furniture company I worked for, delivering furniture. When I was younger, but he was my age, but he won a lawsuit and he was set for life because he had cancer multiple times by the time he was 19. We were 18.
Yeah, and if they're able to trace it.
Yeah,
so without reasonable doubt.
He lived like literally like 10 blocks from the power plant. He was in that zone, and he got cancer twice by the time he was 19. And they had to pay him out millions of dollars, and he just worked because it was something to do. Because there'd be times where he was unhealthy and couldn't, when he was getting treatments or whatever. But you know.
Well, like all the families that lived within a 1.5 or 2 mile radius of 3 Mile Island, like from there, they all got settlements.
Yep.
But I think their settlements weren't necessarily they were suing. I think the company was like, look, we're gonna give you guys money. Please don't make a big fucking deal out of this. So
it's crazy.
Yeah, it's weird, man. So after they show a plane going up in the air, but it's just them talking about what they're planning on doing. You know, you got a scene of like the old school Jeep with the army guys and stuff. But then you get back to the office that they were accommodating.
Yeah.
And they're still setting it up. And they're taking pictures off the wall and this and that. And I think they they tell people, the army people, hey, you guys need to go out and start rounding people up.
Yeah, he's mainly talking about how he needs more people, though. He wants more troops because he doesn't think, you know, these people are going to go quietly and it's going to get ugly and whatnot. And they're like, no, this is what you're trained for. Go do your shit. And that's a big mistake a little bit.
It is. Never go in unprepared. And like I said, they do show like this like little dance or something going on. Like,
it's a bar.
The bar,
it's a bar. It's a bar, and people are like dancing around, like, you know, whatever, and they're hanging up maps and stuff. But so now they go into this bar, and they just start waving their guns around and grabbing people and tell them, "Oh, we need to, you know, martial law, blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. You know, we're taking you for quarantine to the high school," and pretty much everyone's going. Then they show a bunch of. It's almost like a montage in a way.
Yeah, no, it's definitely
like, so
a montage.
they just show them breaking into different people's houses, literally breaking in. They're like kicking in doors, and most of these people, especially then, their doors were unlocked. They probably just opened the doors and walked in. But they're like, you know,
and they're pulling people out of their beds.
Out of beds. They're sleeping. I mean, this is like late at night now. Like, you know, yes, there was that meeting earlier. That could have been like 8, 9 o'clock. This could be like 10, 11 o'clock right now. You know, people went to bed early. Like, I mean, even when I was a kid, like my parents made us go to bed when I was like 8 o'clock. Try doing that to a kid now.
No,
never
11 midnight.
Yeah, and, obviously when I got a little bit older, I had a little more leeway and whatnot, but we still had to be in our room by like 9.
Yeah, you know, it's up to you what you do in your room afterwards.
No,
but
they wanted the TV out by like 9, 10 o'clock, even though like they were kind of strict a little bit, but we still I got away with things a little more, but
yeah. The one of the parts in the montage, they show a father reaching for his gun cabinet. I was
gonna get to that in a second.
Yeah, they so stopped like, that shit quick.
Yep, don't do it.
Yep.
But I like the one scene where they're going. It was purposely done where they're raiding the house and the kid has little green army men on the floor.
Yeah,
and they show him like kind of like stampeding through. He doesn't really knock him over, but it's just a visual. You know what I mean? Like he was trying to make a statement with this.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't really speak exactly what he was saying, but you can interpret this.
It's like a metaphor.
Yeah, you can interpret it your own way. But I took it as, you know, like, you know, the real army men are kind of stampeding through, and like the other army men, the one guy's like, "Come on," you know, like.
Yeah, well, I mean, army men only had like 5 or 6 different shapes. So you had the guy with the walkie-talkie.
Well, no,
they had
a little more than that, but yeah, they only. It was like maybe 10 at most. I had a lot of those.
Yeah, that's what, like there wasn't a whole bunch of different. You know what I mean?
I had those when I was younger, and then moved on to G.I. Joes.
The symbolism was there.
Yeah, definitely.
Now they go back to the office again, and the mayor comes in.
Yeah, it's the sheriff, the deputy, and the mayor. And there was like a scene where they tried to block him coming in, and the sheriff was like, "Don't give me that shit, boy."
Yeah,
and then
fuck
the other
out
guy's
here with
like,
that.
"Let him in," like, yeah. And the mayor starts freaking out.
The mayor looks like the welfare version of Al Borland.
I wouldn't even say that about Al. Come on.
No, I said the welfare version.
I know, but not even.
Al's great.
Not even though. I think the welfare version of Al was still like a decent human being,
or at least have a plaid shirt. This guy has like a trench coat.
This guy is
a big old puss.
No, this guy's like. He's like my 600-pound life version of Al Borland, but he doesn't weigh 600 pounds, but his face looks it.
Yeah. It's like my 300-pound life.
No, because we live that life.
No, like $3.99.
Yeah, it's like
$3.99. It's up
even
there.
Though he's not that big, it's just he has this face and a massive head. But yeah, I mean, I do see the Al Borland thing, but I mean, I got soft spot for Al, man. He's the only one that actually knew what he was doing.
That is true. Oh, dude, I loved Al. And obviously the sheriff and they're on the mayor's side. It's your homegrown people. Yeah. If the government is coming into your town, obviously you're gonna have your close people on your side. But like, it doesn't necessarily.
This, we didn't discuss this part. You said this. Yeah, even the mayor starts getting into that now.
Yeah,
talking about how they knew about it beforehand. Then the general guy comes in. He's like, well, I'll talk to you in a minute, but I got to talk to figure out exactly what's going on. Then I'll deal with you afterwards. And then
you got to be debriefed, pretty much.
Then you want to talk? It cuts into the car chase here a little bit briefly.
Yeah. Basically, the girl, the nurse that was given the antibiotics and stuff, they're pretty much onto her. Like they found her, they caught up,
the one guy saw her leave, but she's running, and then you see her boyfriend and his best friend like see her, and they're like, "Oh, she doesn't know it's us." Like they try to turn around and flag her down because like she's gonna find them, but they're gonna find her, but they don't know it's each other. It's like one of those deals. So now she's running from them, and then all of a sudden they run into the army roadblock, and they get kind of taken away in this van, and then we meet some of the other characters that we're gonna see for the rest of the movie, and then they find her syringes and antibiotic that they found that she was supposed to inoculate, and she's like, I was given these by the army to give to whatever, and they just don't believe anything. Basically, they're just kind of dickbags.
She told the truth. Yeah, she said, I was given I was given this stuff because of what's going on now.
I'm supposed to inoculate these people. I was sent to go whatever, and they're just like, I don't want to hear it. We're just going to force you, just untrained. But then again, never mind. I'm just going to stay out of that.
Go ahead.
No, but in a way, it's like, some of it's following orders, but like, how would you react to the situation? Would you believe her? Would you not believe her? What are you supposed to believe at that point in time? It's all...
That's the problem, because a lot of these people... And there's a scene later on where they say, look, we're just following orders. We don't know what's going on. Yeah. Like some of the guys in the white jumpsuits when they're in that house later on.
For this, I do what I have to do to get by. I'm in trouble if I don't.
Exactly, and you know what? This might be greater than all of us, and you might be fucking up and not even knowing it. So come with us.
Yeah. It might be the best thing for them to do is to go with them. You don't know at this point.
That is the biggest question of this movie, because the movie is set up in a way where it's government versus locals.
And we talked briefly beforehand. It's like, if this was you, would you trust them to take you to the high school and check you out, maybe treat you, or do you go on the run? And I don't know. I'll say it to everyone. I'm conflicted down the middle. I don't trust the government, but at the same time,
I'm not a super conspiracy theorist either, though.
Exactly. I'm sort of torn in the middle somewhere, because there are situations where the government could be helping and be positive, but there's also times where they're going overboard and being forceful.
The government has done a lot of shady shit, and they continue to do shady shit. But we get to live our lives the way we do because of the shit they do. The freedoms that we have to be able to talk about this and have fun.
It's not even that. I mean, that is part, but also they've done a lot.
Let me finish.
Yeah,
they've done a lot of good
shit too, though, that you don't know.
So basically, it's the ignorance is bliss argument. Do you just listen to the government blindly and do exactly what you're told? And it has a lot to do with what's going on right now, too. Do you just listen to the government and be pacified and listen blindly and maybe things are going to work out? Or do you protect your own personal freedom and say, fuck that, I know what's best for me?
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's really tough. If you don't feel you've been directly exposed to whatever, you might feel you have a better chance of surviving on your own. But at the same time, you don't know if you're exposed or not because you don't know what the hell's going on.
Right now is the perfect example.
If it's airborne, you're screwed. If you're
look at the people right now who are refusing to wear masks out in public. They said, "Look, this thing's been going on too long. I'm not sick. I haven't met anybody who's been sick. I'm not wearing this mask." Even though the government is still telling people dude, this is still an issue. You guys need to wear it.
Yeah.
And there's been people showing up at town halls with guns because of this bullshit. So it's a real life thing. And it's like, in that situation...
Well, the one big case was those people showed up to protect...
Yes.
Because they had other people coming, like whatever, and that was like a huge issue because... You know, they weren't protesters. They were there to protect the town hall from people potentially going to go crazy. But they had their...
Well, no, that's with the rioters.
No. I'm talking like a month ago.
Yeah, like a month ago with the masks.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying like there was a group of guys. One of the big things that gets brought up now, especially, is like a month ago, these guys showed up to this town hall with their guns, and they were there to protect the town hall from anyone that decided they wanted to riot because a lot of shit was going on elsewhere. They didn't have any police force, so they took it upon themselves.
They wanted to reopen.
Yeah, they took it upon themselves to pull savior and protector, and it's that gray area of they're allowed to be there with their guns. They're not pointing.
You cannot say both sides are wrong because, like, just because of your opinion doesn't make a side wrong.
They're legally allowed to do what they did. Was it the right thing to do? Not necessarily, but at the same time, it was peaceful.
Look,
they didn't run their guns around and pointing them at anyone. They didn't start shooting off in the air. Whatnot. But the protesters, they didn't get violent either. They were good protesters. You know what I mean? Like,
no, it was an okay turnout.
They did the right thing too. So I mean,
the thing is, it's like, yes, it's not breaking the law to walk around with your gun, you know. But was it the right thing to do? Bestiality is still legal in 9 states in America. Is it the right thing to do? No.
I mean,
but it's legal.
On how ugly she is? No, I'm just kidding.
No, I mean, but you know what I'm saying.
I know that's
like,
just a joke in poor taste. I was just trying to lighten the mood for a second.
No, absolutely, dude. I get it. I'm just certain things like that. But see, I don't know if you're gonna be on my left or my right. We have a different mentality, and I'm not gonna get in this holier than thou argument. But there are tons of people out there who only get their news from social media and the TV.
And the Comedy Central.
Yeah, and Comedy Central. And people like Trevor Noah and The Daily Show.
Quack job YouTubeists. They could just spit out whatever the fuck they want, and no one's there to fact check them. They could just make a video.
And then there's literal blood being spilt over
and it goes
argument.
both ways.
It
those
does.
People are on the left side, they're on the right side, and they both have their biased fucking opinions. And the media, there's no
have
more.
Have you noticed though? We didn't say left or right in this entire because it's not about left or right.
I'm just saying there's these. I'm just saying for anyone that wants to misunderstand what we're saying, I'm just saying like those crackpots are on both sides.
Yeah, we're not picking sides. We're not telling.
Yeah, you're getting the wrong media from both people. There's no more. Everything has an agenda these days, and all the channels are affiliated one way or the other, and that's the problem. Where news back in the day was just the news. There was no agenda. They were just reporting what was going on, and you left that up to yourself.
There used to be journalistic integrity, but nowadays news channels are just like I said. They're just like Comedy Central and Spike. They have advertisers, and that's how they make money.
They want their clicks. They want their advertisements. They want their money. They have an agenda. They got to sell stuff. They got to twist things. They got to only play you 15 seconds of the video instead of the whole 15 minutes or 10 minutes.
And then they got to bring on people to ask what their opinion is on the matter. Not even fucking experts.
And it's not even like they bring on experts. They'll bring on like
a random guy
super right-wing guy, you know, that represents whatever. Then they'll bring on, you know, Black Lives Matter person, and then turn it into something that it's not about, you know. And then they'll get the
fireworks going so people tune in. Mm-hmm. It's bullshit, dude.
Yeah,
the media places more people against each other than they actually.
So that all weighs into. So back to what we're talking about. It all weighs into your decision. Like, who do you trust? Do you trust yourself? Do you trust the government? Do you not?
You know what?
What the fuck's going on? And it warps your decisions.
At this time period, if I was around in 73, I would probably go with the government because, and I know it sounds weird, the internet wasn't around yet, And a lot of the conspiracy theories and a lot of the stuff that the government did was not common knowledge yet.
No, yeah, because a lot of the, I mean, I'm sure they do fucked up shit now, but a lot of the fucked up shit was done in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s mostly.
And it was declassified over the last few years, and now that's how we know about the Manhattan Project no one knew and about shit like stuff, that.
Unless they were that, Randy Quaid crazy guy living in the camper with the tinfoil hat that used to work in one of those places and snuck out.
Yep.
But everyone thinks he's so crazy that, But that's so back then, it's 1 out of 10 things, and not everyone would hear from that guy. He's more of a town local than you wouldn't be. It wouldn't be national.
He's the Ralphus.
Yeah,
he's Ralphus. But back then, I probably would have sided with the government because I would have sauld, well, what have they done to not use my truck?
Yeah, if I was in this movie in the 70s, I probably would have went with them. I would have hoped they would have came in a little friendlier though. They made them seem like stormtroopers in this. I don't think they'd be. I think they'd be knocking on doors and whatnot, not necessarily barging in and ripping people out of their bed. I would hope.
But I think that was George A. Romero's vision.
Well, he builds up the tension, He knows what he's doing in this movie, and I'm not saying what he did was bad. I think what he did works for the movie. It sells his movie. It makes it.
It's for
makes
the
you paranoid.
art.
It makes you question things. It makes you think about things. If he just had them knocking on doors and saying, "We need you to come," whatever, it wouldn't have worked. This movie is scary and fearful.
It works well
the way he did it.
But knowing that George A. Romero is all about social commentary and, he writes about what's going on, and a lot of people had a lot of distrust with the Vietnam War and this and that. I mean, he knew what he was doing. That's all I'm saying.
I agree. Fucking yours.
So basically they get back and the black general is trying to explain to the people basically a plan that it's martial law, that the sheriffs and that they don't matter.
We want to round up all the civilian guns, make sure we have all of them.
Shit, I keep hitting that.
Which that I have an issue with. I'm sorry.
That is one thing. Back then, I would have an issue. I would trust the government back then, but if they showed up to my house like that and they wanted my guns, I'd have more of an issue.
Martial law or not, I have my amendment right to protect myself, and that means against you also. You turn into a tyrannical government at that point of time.
Second Amendment.
If you want to
learn it, respect it.
If you want to start taking us into custody and then steal our guns so we can't eventually defend that's when I start having my issues and stuff.
Oh yeah. And it's a possibility because it's happened in history before.
And it's fucked up because sorry, continue.
No, a lot of people say it'll never happen. That's a conspiracy. Just do a little bit of history research. You'll see how easily
and it's fucked up because they have the soldiers in here. They film them. They're raiding people's houses. They're taking things. They're taking jewelry, money. Yeah, it was more so in the other movie, but they do show in here too. It was more
Now, there is a standoff point because the general says he wants the sheriffs disarmed. Mm-hmm. And they got a huge problem with that because this is their town.
Yeah, and the mayor. The mayor is really fighting for it. He's like, I'm a practicing lawyer. I know my rights. Mm-hmm. You don't have the right to do that.
But it did get physical, and a gun went off, and one of the sheriffs died.
Yeah, the sheriff was killed, yeah.
Yeah.
You have the sheriff, deputy, and then the mayor, but it was the actual sheriff himself.
Yeah. Now, the general actually got pissed off, and he grabs the mayor by, the neck or the throat and puts him against the wall. And he was like, this all could have been avoided type of thing. Which is true.
This all could have been avoided. It's for the greater good.
Yep. Now, the next scene, they cut to this crazy Jeff Daniels-looking motherfucker.
Yeah, right?
Wearing a Canadian tuxedo with the denim shirt. And he's shooting.
He looks like a prisoner because it's buttoned all the way up to the top. He looks like...
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the button's all the way... Yeah,
because a lot of prison garb was very similar to that back in the day. Mm-hmm. So now it just turns into this crazy firefight here at this guy's... Which is unrealistic because the guy has a double-barrel shotgun and the rest of them have... carbide,
like a 30 carbine.
Yeah,
or
I don't know the exact name, but yeah, it's like it's just a Carby rifle. It's got like probably a 10 to 15 round magazine. It's 5.56.
I just sold one of those a few months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like there's no way a guy with even a double barrel or a pump with 8 shots, and there's like 5 or 6 army guys. It's not 1-on-1, but he's picking them off, you know, because he's got that country aim.
Yeah,
he can't teach that, you know.
No, but I'm saying he's shooting too many shots for the scene. He would have to reload. It was just a double barrel. It was a side by side, like.
It's like the Fast and Furious cars with 20 different gears.
Yeah. So, but they go in the house, and you can tell something's not right. You have the one girl playing the piano. They grab the one kid. She looks a little crazy. Now the one guy's going upstairs. Sees this old lady sewing, or she's knitting, whatever, like you want to call it. I think it's knitting technically, but yeah.
Yeah, it's knitting.
And she's going to get him, and then she stabs him with the knitting needle, just multiple over and over again, and it just goes back like nothing happened, sits back down, just starts knitting again, and he's got like thread attached to him somehow. Like, it's just kind of funny. Like, he's like pulling away, trying to get for help, and he's bleeding on the stairs. And
my problem with that is, though, realistically, if somebody stabs you, you have this little bit of time where you struggle. Like, they stab you wherever they get you, and you grab it and you're wrestling this and that. This guy gets stabbed like 4 or 5 times, doesn't even move his arms. Like, they're up. It's like, bam, bam. He's like, ooh,
he did get stabbed in a bad spot, but I don't know how much. You have your breastplate there. She stabbed him in, like, the lungs. But you still have a breastplate kind of covering it. It would have been kind of hard to get that knitting needle through those bones there.
Unless she's got, like, fucking Schwarzenegger fucking strength.
I know, she'd get, like, a super wind-up and be like,
like, hopped off the recliner.
But I feel like he would have been able to pretend. I don't know, but it's a movie. You got to go past that.
It is. Suspension of disbelief.
Yeah. So, but before when they got picked up, we kind of skimmed over it. There's a crazy guy in the van that's obviously affected. There's a dad and his daughter, and she's obviously affected, but they kind of play it off a little bit. So now they're at this house, and they see all this gunfire, and they go to load more people in, and they kind of break out of the van. They cause like a melee. People are getting shot, and the other crazy guy just walking around waving, and it's kind of funny, actually.
Well, he's like, welcome to Elliott City. Yeah, just... All right.
So they have more soldiers coming up.
Now, this is where you see your first instance of the day for night shot. We mentioned earlier. It's actually done a lot better than Hills Have Eyes 2. But clearly, you know, budget restraints and stuff. This is just how they did it back then, people. But then they have this beautiful shot at the railroads, like this early morning fog morning in this little town. And I used to live in a town that looked just like that. Like, that's such a Pennsylvania small town.
I kind of feel like this might have actually been filmed at night right here, though.
What, the dark part?
Yeah, right here. Yeah. Like where they escape.
No, that's day.
No,
that is
now as they're driving away. I'm talking like when they were fighting, like the whole fight scene.
When they were filmed. When they were fighting, that was definitely
now that they're driving away is when you get the first. I don't want people to get confused. I just want to clarify a little more.
Because we were talking about the guy with the crazy waving, and I was like, then they have this. Then they have this.
Yeah, I just want to make sure people because now the truck's speeding away. They're out of there, and they're being chased by the jeeps, and then you can clearly see that this was shot in the daytime, but they did.
You'll know.
Yeah.
You'll know when you watch it. Then they cut to this male scientist. I don't know how I feel about this guy.
Well, they get away, and they end up going to a hunting lodge, basically. That's where they go to. But yeah, and then you gotta cut to the scientist guy. I'm trying to get to them.
I'm at 30. Hold on, 35:30.
Yeah, I was almost there. There was like some guy tried to run away, and they shot him dead. So I mean, it's getting to that weird area right before the science you got, where they're starting to kill people just for, you don't know if they're crazy or they're just trying to get away, but they're just getting gunned down in cold blood, possibly. If they're infected, there's nothing you can do. You got to kill them. It's just how it is. But
That's the orders, and you listen to your orders.
So now, talk about your scientist guy here.
Well, he's just, I don't know if it's the actor or how he's played or whatever. He just gives me a creepy vibe.
He seems like super high strung, like more so than like he's supposed to be for what he's doing, but I feel like he's like over. I think he's just a bad actor on top of things.
Yeah, I could more than likely.
Yeah,
more than likely. But yeah, he talks about being part of the team who created this mess.
Yeah, because he was nabbed earlier and he was complaining because they threw him on a plane. They're like, well, our orders were the first person to show up, part of this scientist group, was going to be flown to the actual site. And he's like, no, I need to be in a lab studying things. That's I'm not a field guy. There's other people that are, he's like, yeah, but you were the first. And then now he's arguing. He's like, I need to be studying these people.
Yep.
And then they make a good point here because he's like, I can't let you break the perimeter. He's talking to the black general guy that I can't let you break perimeter after being exposed. He's like, this happened over 6 days ago. He's like, people have been exposed leaving. You know what I mean? Like me leaving.
How many trucks left this town before you got here?
Yeah, how many trucks? Because it's a farming town. They ship out their goods and then this is where they.
And that's scary.
But this is where they fully mention it's a bioweapon too, though. Mm-hmm. Because he gets in and he starts talking about how they're like, oh, but it's just a vaccine or whatever. He's like, no. He's like, this was built as a bioweapon, and they're like, it was a need to know, and it's like, what you're getting being injected wasn't really, a vaccine or an super antibiotics to keep you from getting it. And he's like, we've never been able to make something yet.
Yeah, they're still in the process of actually.
Yeah. So. But this sets up this guy's character for later. Mm-hmm. So this guy's like super high strung and doesn't want to deal with the order of command and yada yada yada.
The entire reason this guy's in the movie is because they have him working on the vaccine that's gonna cure people. That's his only purpose, and a little bit of exposition.
Yeah.
Next scene, they show a part of a golf course that's open. And they cut to the hunting lodge, and you get just a little bit more exposition between the guy, the one guy in the van. He has his daughter, and then the best friend of David. And
I have a question. I'm sorry. Do you think the daughter's face is kind of weird? It's like something.
I do.
Something bothers me about it. It's like I'm not sure if that's like her natural, whatever. Because obviously she's not like a kid. She's obviously like over 18 actress. You know what I mean? Like, she's supposed to play, like, like a 15, 16-year-old possibly at most? Like, they make it seem like she's younger, but she's like fucking 20. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and I think she does have a weird face, but she's in the remake, and she's riding a bike in town, and I saw a picture of her older. She still looks weird. So it's not like a weird... I didn't
notice. It's one of those...
Very instant,
she's got
very
like
quick.
She's got like a model face, but I'm not sure it's the way they did her. Like she's like pretty, but not like it's too much if it's like the makeup or whatever. But I just wonder if something just wasn't right. I was wondering if maybe this girl had early plastic surgery, like at like well,
20. You know what? No,
it's like her
you know
face
what the
is
main
like
thing
super
is
smooth and the lines and it's
looking
crazy.
at her on a still frame. The number one thing I can see, her eyes are spaced very far apart. And she has a small nose.
I was thinking maybe she had she had a nose job and they like made her nose like really tiny. I know this it was just something bothers me when you look at her and you watch. It's like the little things of a movie. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to like pick on her looks or anything. But
no.
Like, something
but the thing
just
is, like,
it's weird. It's just weird about her.
I'm Italian and I have a big nose. My dad had a big nose. But if you look, the space between my eyes is maybe like this. Okay? Her nose is smaller, less pronounced, more in the face, and her eyes are like out here. And it makes her kind of look like an alien. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's something odd. It's just, I don't know. But even this guy, he's very caveman looking his face too. He looks like he could be in one of those Geico commercials.
Very mongoloidish.
But like it's weird how like both guys though also look like brothers. You know what I mean? Like they look like they could be related, but then later in the movie, when you look at him more, you're like, he doesn't so much look like him anymore. I don't know if it's like maybe his hair changed a little bit or whatever, or maybe maybe they put makeup on the one guy because this guy eventually gets infected and he starts changing a little bit. But it's like weird how the characters progress. Now, do you see a little bit of Walking Dead in here? Because I see a little Rick Grimes and Shane, yeah, with these two. Do you feel that tension later? Like, do you notice?
I said it, but I didn't say it at this point in the movie. But I did say it originally watching this. I did get that vibe, but it just wasn't here yet.
No, I'm just saying, like you sort of...
When the other guy starts actually losing his mind and losing his temper, that's when I started feeling, this is totally a Rick Grimes and Shane thing. Absolutely. But this scene is basic exposition. They're just talking about random stuff, where they're going to go, what they're going to do, whatever. They cut back, and you're back in the doctor's office. The general's on the phone. You know, that's what I was saying about earlier about the breakdown. There's a lot of scenes, you know, that are just talking about basically how dangerous this is. What are we going to do with this town? And what are we going to do if it escapes?
It's very dialogue heavy. It's well written. It is. It's for the most part, it's acted pretty good, with the exception of a few people that are kind of, you know,
like 3 or 4 people.
Yeah,
are
but
like
for the most part, it's acted pretty good, considering they're not. A lot of these people aren't real actors. You know, they're just, you know, smaller end people. There are some union actors, but you know what I mean. They're not like huge.
But even the smaller end ones who aren't in the union, they're not terrible.
No, like the worst actor is probably that doctor. Probably. I mean, maybe that might be someone else, but he's probably the worst. Pretty noticeable. But it could just be his character,
probably the worst with the
annoying.
biggest role.
Yeah. But you just notice it more. He's just kind of annoying in general, anyway.
Yeah. I'm actually jumping up to 47. Actually, go to 46, 45.
Yeah, right before. Okay.
Yeah. So you get the scene. They have a quick shot of the plane in the sky, and then they have a hill shot of the actual size of the town. So you can actually see how big the town is. I'm not going to sit here and count houses, but it's a nice little small town. You can see the town center and all that, you know.
Yeah, so now you have all the soldiers robbing everyone, that they're burning all the dead bodies. Earlier they decided they have to burn all the dead bodies. They're like, yeah, that sucks, but we have to control this. He's like, you know, you got to do what you got to do, you know.
Safest way.
Yeah. But I
think Romero just liked burning dead bodies, like in his movies, like that was his thing.
So
you know?
they're stealing rings, their wallets, jewelry, watches. But then one of the guys that's actually doing it goes crazy himself.
Yeah. That's so crazy.
So they basically burn him alive. Yeah, I mean, he gets infected, you know, like.
No, not just that. The actual stealing and stuff. Yeah. I could see that.
They're like divvying it out between each other too, because there's like maybe like eight or nine people there.
Yeah.
But like we know what's going on, and now we're back in the cabin, and they're filling like alcohol bottles up with water, because that's the only bottles to travel with they have, and we're like, like.
Yeah, like you already know when they're talking about the water line being infected, and then you see them filling water from the sink. You're it's like fuck, like who's gonna drink it?
Who's gonna get it?
You know what? It's actually good watching this the second time around. Like, it was good the first time, but now knowing things...
And you can look at some of the other little things.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, not only is this movie worth watching, it's worth re-watching. They go to the church. I guess they're trying to gather up all the, the good little Christians.
Yeah. And the stragglers. They're doing a second sweep, basically, trying to get everyone else. So these people are trying to have sanctuary, basically, you know, in this church.
And they're throwing the priest out, but he makes it outside, and he runs like a weirdo. Yeah. But
well, he's supposed to be crazy right now. Obviously, he's infected.
Yeah, and he pours this gasoline on him, and like they're gonna try to stop him, but he has a Zippo, which is the coolest lighter in history. Lights himself on fire, and then the guy pulls out his pistol and tries to shoot him. Has to take off his mask to get a clear shot.
Yeah, because but it's like it kind of. But this dude looks like Liam Neeson's like cousin's son.
Not his son, not his cousin. His cousin's son.
Because if you see Liam Neeson in the '80s in some older movies, he looks exactly like he does now. He he just looks younger, but looks exactly the same. It's weird. It's
Liam Neeson has been 50 years old for the last 50 years.
But no, well, I mean, he's been 50 years old for the last like 30 years, but he still looked younger. You know, he looked the same, but like, you know, obviously there's skin differences. You know what I mean? Like he has smoother skin, tighter skin. Like
he just
I mean, that's looks aging, younger, but still looks exactly the same. It's weird.
Yep.
There's that movie he did with Patrick Swayze about all the rednecks from like West Virginia or something, and then Patrick Swayze lets become a cop, and I forget there's something. So he's in that movie, and that's what it reminds me of because like he looks so young in it.
Yeah.
It's just
he was in a Western too.
He was in Cult early in his career. In the 80s too.
Huh?
Or Krull. The movie with the little fucking flying disc, the sci-fi.
Oh yeah.
Little crazy sci-fi with the fucking flaming horses, like the flaming feet. The fucking the Clydesdale war horses.
Yeah.
And the Cyclops guy, and it was just crazy.
So then we get a battle scene where you get a bunch of the guys in the white jumpers running in the opposite direction as basically town folk. Because they mentioned earlier, you know, in a mountain town, country town like this, everyone's armed, and you know, they're
armed with dynamite.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They made a few pipe bombs. Obviously, someone had a hard cover of the Anarchist Cookbook. Unfortunately, one of the locals is just sweeping the grass.
Everyone's armed and dangerous, shooting all these people except for the lady with the broom, like old style broom, not even like straw bristles.
Yeah.
Broom.
It's like the guy who was the leader of the locals is like, guys, get ready. We're going to do a clean sweep of these guys. And then she shows up. She's like, I didn't know what you meant.
Yeah, but they're all crazy anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
one dude
it's
gets
happening.
A machete in his stomach. Another one gets like pitchforked in the hand while he's on the ground. Like,
I actually freeze that pitch frame thing. The guy's arm is in his suit, but they actually have the arm of the sleeve taped out on the grass. So that's how that stab looked. It looks really cool, but it's very easy.
Yeah. Little misdirection.
Yep. Oh, it's such a good shot. But the locals are dropping like flies, but then so are the army guys. Like every other one of them's getting killed. Mm-hmm. You get the scene where the group, they're sitting on top of the hill and they can see what the army is doing, breaking into houses. You know, they're having a battle, a shootout with one of the farmers, I guess.
And then the wife comes out, shoots one of them, and then she gets shot, and then little kid comes out after. Mommy.
Yeah, and they scoop them up and
take the bodies away. They're very gentle with the kids in this movie, though. They were kind of rough with a lot of people, but they are very gentle with the kids. And I mean,
don't you feel like it would be like that in real life?
Yeah, no. I'm saying like for filming purposes. Oh, but I also think you know, for practical purpose too, I think they would have to be. You know, and then they're burning people, and the one girl's laughing hysterically now, giggling.
And they kind of give up their position.
Because the other guy's an idiot. I would not have him in my survival group. The panic, worry, wart. Like, I'm sorry, I mean, you can only protect people so much before they fuck with your safety. And I'm sorry, I'm one of those people. I worry about the safety of the overall people. If I have to lose one or two of you, for the greater good, I got to lose one or two of you. I'm sorry, I'm not keeping you in my, you know.
But here's the thing. If you're not pulling your weight, but you're drinking our water and you're eating our food, our rations, or you're making it unsafe for everybody, I'm going to do the group a favor. I'm going to take you out.
Turn into
Plain
shame.
And simple. Well, dude, we're both Shanes.
I'm turning a little bit into Shane.
Neither one of us would have been Rick.
Maybe we're like the good version of Negan. I don't know. We're like
possibly. It depends on the situation, man.
I
actually watched the video recently about the justification of Negan, and like, honestly, dude, makes sense. I'm sorry, it makes sense.
Maybe it does. I haven't watched it that far. I don't know, but I don't know. Like, after watching my friends get, you know, their face smashed in by a baseball bat, if I could ever be friends with that guy, though.
That's true.
If it wasn't for that, I can justify the stuff he does maybe in my brain, but after that, I would think I'd want revenge. I don't know if I could let that go.
Like, but
especially if I was one of those people on my hands and knees not knowing if it was going to be me, you know?
Right. But I feel like if Negan knew he had to send a message of intimidation, that's the route that he went. Like, it sucks because, yeah, you don't want it to happen to anyone in your group.
Yeah, I think there's better ways to do it, though. A little more humane.
Yeah. Oh, shoot him. Not fucking Ken Griffey walks up, or Frank Thomas fucking walks up to the plate, you know?
It's like...
We were talking about sports stars the other night, about like awesome athletes that could play anything. We didn't mention Frank Thomas. Did you remember?
He was just a slugger, though. It wasn't like he was good in the field that well.
No, but I think he'd be a good boxer. Like, he just looks like...
I don't know if he has the stamina for that, but...
Oh, yeah.
But like Bo Jackson beating your face in with a baseball bat, you know?
Jesus Christ, yeah. Even Deion Sanders... Or not Deion, yeah, Deion Sanders.
Yeah, but he's weak, though. He's a great athlete, but I don't think his baseball hits would be as... It's not,
oh,
it's
no,
not
compared
Bo.
to Bo Jackson?
Yeah,
no.
man.
But I'm saying I wouldn't want any... I wouldn't want a 5-year-old hit me
actually,
in the
Bo
face.
probably would be humane. He'd probably kill you in one hit.
Oh, yeah. But Deion have to take like 5 hits. Like, dude, come on, just kill me.
Deion would be like fucking Negan there. It's like taking like 6-7 shots to kind of crack your skull open.
So they give up their position a little bit, and we get this pretty cool chase scene.
Yeah, because they got
a helicopter in the sky. Didn't you say that they actually got like a Huey and stuff like that for this movie or something?
No.
Like they actually got some military equipment?
No, I never said that.
Oh, okay. So it was the remake. I watched something. Yeah. The remake actually did get a hold
Huey. That's
of some
no Huey.
actual... That's just a random helicopter.
That's one of those old. It's almost like
an old.
It's almost like considered like a gyrocopter. You know, it's not like a. It's like a kit copter. It's like the 70s. You know what I mean? Like it's just
yeah.
It's a frame, a bubble, and some seats, and they use them as like early military for like scouting and maybe transferring like 1 or 2 bodies until they came up with the Hueys. But
okay,
they're really hard to fly, those choppers, though.
Well, they're finicky. Like they can't handle wind resistance.
They're very That's why they use similar choppers like that for like crop dusting, and then until they got like planes and whatever.
Actually, I have a buddy who flies one of those one-man airplanes, and he showed me GoPro footage of how high he went. And then I saw the plane in real life, and I'm like, dude, my bed is bigger than this. I'm not going that fucking high in the air in this thing. Fuck that.
Does he bring a parachute with him?
Yeah. He has a parachute.
Okay.
He has a fucking... The top pops up if it has to... You know, all that shit.
You never know. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, no. He said that he crash-landed a glider, like with the fan in the back. He said that he crashed one of those before. He broke his ankle. But you're not going that high in that. But this scene is pretty cool. Definitely, you know, Pennsylvania woods. They got the white suits chasing after them or looking for them. They got the helicopter in the sky. Just like, dude, like, we see you. We're going to find you. Just give up. So they start shooting at the helicopter. And eventually, I guess, through enough shots, the helicopter kind of just, like, goes behind the hill. And then they see a big ball of fire. So it exploded. But according to this budget, it had a nice safe landing and nothing happened.
Nice safe landing, and a bunch of gas barrels were exploded. That's how you get those big fireball-y explosions, because most explosions don't look like that. It's just a movie trick to make things, they just blow up gasoline barrels. Like your average thing that explodes, it's just going to be like a boom and some shrapnel, maybe a little bit of flash here and there, but you're not going to get these big fireballs and mushroom cloud, like kind of soot smoke.
Dude.
Like.
When Mythbusters blew up that cement truck...
Oh, my God, that's crazy.
Dude, the shockwave and shit. But there was no fireball.
Nope.
But there was debris and there was dust and it just... Oh, so
shockwave.
Beautiful.
Or when they shot the cannonball into those people's houses. On accident.
I would feel so bad.
Like a mile away. They shot this cannonball and went way further than they thought. And... off aim.
Well, it missed what they were trying to...
That's what I mean. It went off aim, and just kept rolling, going, like, whatever, and it ended up going into these people's house. Luckily, no one was home, I think, at the time.
Yeah, it went through their fucking wall,
the
and
front
then,
wall.
out the other wall.
Yeah, did it go out the other wall? I thought it just hung out in the living room, but yeah, maybe it went into the backyard.
I think that's where they found it, because they wanted to see how far it went, like...
Something crazy. So now we're cut to the school. People are like kind of going crazy in the school. They're trying to separate who's maybe mad and who's not.
Yeah.
It's basically like looking like you're in a insane asylum right now. People just had that stare, and I think that guy was probably just on LSD. Probably took an acid tab.
Yeah, it's a weird time.
that hippie dude. He was probably just a
kind of like a Five Finger Death Punch mosh pit. Just a bunch of that guy. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then this old guy spits on this other dude, even though he has a mask on. He freaks out.
Well, I would. I don't want to be spit on.
No, but I'm just saying, he like freaks out as if it was. He's like, get it off me, as if like it got through your mask. Right? You could just wipe it off yourself, man. Like,
yeah, seriously.
I don't want to be spit on either, but it's like he's like freaking out like a, I don't know,
like a sissy.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Then we get the scene with the doctor that I don't really like and his lab assistant, who looks like a 65-year-old, 40-year-old.
She looks like I can't. When I was watching this, I thought of it, but is it Angela Lang from American Horror Story?
Yeah.
But like she would actually be younger here.
Yeah.
You know, she looks like Angela Lang does now. Like, or maybe like 10 years ago in some of the early American Horror Stories, but she would be she would be like 40 in this, not like this lady looks like she's 65, like, but she's got plastic surgery maybe and some other stuff making her look like she's like 40, like, but you can tell it's just not like it's something. Yeah, it's just funny.
Now the doctor, like, she asks like, what are the chances of this working out?
Yeah.
And the doctor's like, would you marry me? Like, bro, calm it down. But basically they're setting up that they're trying to look for something to help them. They're looking through the microscopes, this and that. Then they run into the general at the little doctor's office. The thing they set up in the beginning. The general's sitting there and they're trying to debrief him.
Well, the part you missed in here is they think they found something or leading them to a vaccine, actually.
Yeah, that was the doctor and the Angela Lansbury, or the Angela Lang thing.
Yeah, they passed. Like they had this little dialogue about taking the masks off and whatnot, but they think they found something, and he's like, so he does a little further testing, and it looks like they're on the right track to making their vaccine. I thought that was like an important plot point.
Yeah, they haven't found it yet, because there is the main scene at the end, like where like excitement.
We'll get there. Yeah, we'll get there. But
yeah.
He's on the he's like knocking on the door of figuring it out. Like he made a major breakthrough.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So like, Major Ryder and the general and like these army guys, they're having this big blowout. Because they're saying, look, this is like getting out of hand. We actually need the army in here, not like whatever the fuck we are. And I guess the general doesn't want to bring in any more people for some reason. I don't.
Yeah. Then the dude freaking out that was part of I guess when they first got picked up, he has her syringes and medicines. He's like, this is army issue, like, how did they get this? But he's obviously mad right now. He's like, what's going on here? There's leaks. And then I guess they realize that the doctor, he finally admits he sent her out some antibiotics to try to antibiotics.
The super antibiotics.
Super antibiotics to inoculate her husband because she's married, or boyfriend at the time. But then they start getting fired upon.
From the outside. Mm-hmm. Windows, just a gunfire. Everyone's trying to hide. They're actually carrying a dead body. Like, when you're in the middle of a gunfire, the last thing you're doing is moving bodies. And they actually do go out. They have a shot outside that shows it's like one guy standing behind a building with your standard hunting rifle, just, blasting away.
Yeah, lever action. Not really standard. It's a lever action. Little.
Yeah, like your old school little.
Boop. Yeah.
But they get him. They shoot him eventually. It takes them like 30 fucking shots. Yeah. You go back to the main crew.
Yeah, I think we kind of skip past that a little bit though.
Yeah. I would actually go to where. Okay, I would go to 10342 because this is the scene that I did mention a little bit earlier. Here you see three guys in the white jumper, or two guys it starts out with in the white jumpers, but they have their masks off. And one's building like a house with cards, and one's eating some soup out of a can. And this is where you kind of get like the humanitarian side of these people, because you don't really see a lot of them with their masks off. No. They're just doing what they're doing.
No, they're having a conversation. There's no dialogue between anyone. They're acting like robots, basically.
Yeah, until here, where you realize they even say to each other, like, "Does anybody know what we're doing here?" And that's when, like, the third guy kind of walks in the room, and he's like, "I learned a long time ago, like, you never ask what you're doing; you just do what you're told." The group, our standard group, they want to make it in that house.
Yeah, so they're kind of taking over this house. It's someone else's house. They're playing music. They're hanging out, but yeah, they want to take over this house.
They try to have a plan, but this is when you kind of first see like the friend is starting to go a little crazy.
You see, he's making some head movement, some weirdness. They originally wanted to take the house non-lethal, but then he pulls out his knife.
Yeah.
So they
it's actually, yeah, like watching this a second time, it's actually pretty cool catching some of the little things that he does, and
yes, he had some mannerisms with his face and he's like twitching and whatever, and I didn't notice it earlier when I watched it.
Yeah,
I also had the dog sleeping in my lap, so I was distracted by my little cuddle buddy.
So the good cop, or the main cop, he goes and he kind of like tells the guy,
They're firefighters, they're not cops.
A firefighter, that's right.
Other movie.
David.
Other movie.
Yeah, David goes up to one and he's like, if you make a sound, blah, blah, blah. Well, the other guy, Russell, went up and just killed the one guy. Yep. And then he ran up to the guy that David was holding and then killed him too. And David gives him this look.
Oh, so he was trying to get info out of him too a little bit.
Yeah, like what's going on, this and that. But yeah, Russell wasn't having that shit, man.
Then you have super panicky guy, fucking, I don't hear anything. What's going on? We need to go. Just shut the fuck up and wait. Just that annoys me. That guy annoys the fuck out of me. So now they bust in. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I'll say they break in, and David has the main guy of the three, and he's trying to get information out of him. And he's actually telling him a little bit, at least what he knows. But you can't tell somebody what you don't fucking know. And he honestly says, what's going on? He's like, I don't know. Honest to God, I don't know. But they keep going over to Russell because Russell's holding the gun on the other two. And every time they go back to him, it's like, yo, the audience knows.
You're waiting.
Like, dude,
you're waiting for it.
Yeah.
You also see one of the other guys slowly creeping towards his rifle, though, too. He's like trying to reach over. And then now he tells them that it's in the water officially. So now they know what's going on. Even though we knew and they told him. So now he blows everyone away basically before he can finish getting everything he needs because they went for their guns and the other guy just tried to get away in general.
Yep.
And then he's losing. He's like, I killed 5 guys all by myself. Yep. What did you do,
And this is the first personality shift of Russell. We noticed he was like shaking a little bit, like he might be going crazy, and yeah, he's stabbing, but now there's no threat. But he's talking to his friend kind of like an asshole. He's treating him
almost like also he's talking to himself too. He's like, Green Berets. These are Green Berets. I don't know. He's not really making any sense though, because they're just regular.
I don't know where the term Green Beret came in at all.
Yeah, because they're just like they're an army squad. They're a special squad, but they're not Green Berets. They're just
they're like an auxiliary.
They're
unit,
like they're the fast action response team of bio trained for keeping quarantine and whatnot. They're not like
Yep. So at that point, when they hear the gunfire, the rest of the three they run in the house, and now they're all together. and they're just, I guess, trying to figure out their basic plan. Again, basically, there's a lot of movement in the movie of like, what are we gonna do next? What are we gonna? Which is true in this scenario. You can't play 10 steps ahead because you don't know what the fuck's going on. You just gotta do what you gotta do. Now, there's a. All right, I gotta pause it real quick. I'm at 109:17. When David is going up the stairs and then Russell kind of follows him behind, he's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "No, I'm gonna go check on Lauren or whatever." He's like, "Oh yeah, cool." And then he runs up the stairs before David gets a chance. Like, what is that supposed to prove?
I think because he's just losing his mind. He doesn't know what he's doing. He wants to know what's going on.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, he's getting paranoid. He's like, well, why did you go upstairs? What are you going up there for? What do you know, like...
Because then immediately when he gets up to the room and he sees the girl, like, he holds his head and he's like, "Hey, did I do good?" Or
well, he's like, "I don't feel so good at first." And then he's like, "You did good," you know?
Yeah. So, do you think David knows Russell's turning?
Yeah, they both know by now. Yeah.
So Russell knows that he's turning too, though?
No, I don't think he does. I think David knows. Okay. I think David and the girl do, and they're just trying to play to him because he has weapons. He's dangerous.
They're trying
to keep him calm because they said it causes confusion at first. You can go back and forth with some people.
Right.
You know, earlier in the movie, it causes like a dementia confusion state, which can turn into anger with some people if, So then, like, you see the and then now the father seems to be turning also now, you're starting to realize. Because he was, like, being all weird with his daughter, like, "Oh, she's all I have left," and she's face, and she slapped him. Well, we obviously knew she was turning.
We've known that since the beginning. Yeah. She was just...
He's just getting, like, weird, possessive, and creepy, whatnot.
Ugh.
Yeah, he's, like, rubbing her face, and,
Yeah. Are you at the scene with the where they go back to the military spot with the pickles?
Yep.
Dude, when I saw that scene, I don't even like pickles, but I saw that and I was like, I could go for a pickle right now. I don't know, it's weird.
Go for a good sandwich right now. They have, deli wrap sandwiches.
Yep. Try some. I think I got some lunch meat, but I don't have any bread here.
So they're talking about oh shit! Sorry, I'm getting interrupted by fucking text messages here.
Oh boy. Basically, they're having their Doctor Strangelove moment.
I think someone's using the wrong phone number or whatnot, and I'm getting requests for my one-time banking passcode through Santander Bank and
Santander.
Yeah, whatever. Which I don't have an account with.
Yeesh.
And it's like someone might be putting the wrong whatever, or someone's trying to hack my shit or something and open up another account, but it's coming to my phone.
How long have you had your phone number?
A little over a year. I was dumb. I got rid of my old phone when I moved here because I wanted to get rid of my... Well, not when I moved here, but recently. My bill went down, but I had no issues, no random phone calls. I never signed up for anything. Now I got some other rando's fucking number. And
you picked up some other number, then that guy probably had all sorts of fucking sign-ups.
This is the third one now in a row. It's like they're trying to get their password to reset their account, but it's like...
They don't know it's not going to their number.
It's not going to their number.
They keep hitting resend.
Yeah, but it's going to their old number or it's some whatever. And I'm going to probably get these all fucking night now. I have to turn my fucking phone on vibrate.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm at 1 hour, 12 minute, 29. They're having their little Doctor Strangelove moment where they have a bunch of people trying to discuss not only what they're trying to do, but what can they blame it on if it does make it out past where it's out. They're trying to be like, well, we could say it was this or we could say it was that,
Yeah. So then you go
what are the probabilities it makes it across the entire country,
Yeah, so then now you go into the creepy scene where the dad's laying with his daughter in bed and it gets incestuous.
Yeah.
He basically starts having sex with his daughter, and she's like into it. It seems I took it as getting very moany and weird.
I think at first she was weird, and then I think she started getting into it more, and that's what made it even weirder.
Yeah. But they're both crazy right now, so
yeah.
But then the crazy guy hears them because they're being kind of loud, and he starts beating the shit out of the guy. Basically, you fucking creeper. I mean, it's like it's not just like he's on top of her. They show him pull her pants off, and then he's like on top of her. Like they're like going at it. It's not like a.
It's not like they were warming up to it.
Yeah. Like, and then the other dude stops him, but the other dude's downstairs starting to drink on top of his other shit.
Yeah, on top of the craziness, puts a little booze on there. Oh boy.
So the other dude stops him.
And Russell is saying that they should have left them, previously. Like, they've been nothing but trouble this whole time. But Russell's not doing any better right now. And David knows it, man. Like,
he's
the way he's looking.
He's like, I'm cold. He's like, I'm cold. I don't feel good.
Because now Russell even looked like he had the thought in his eye, or the look on his face was like, dude, if I gotta fucking do this, I have to fucking end this now. Yeah, they cut back to the girl, and it shows the inside of her leg is actually bleeding.
Yeah, I don't know if it was like forceful, or if she's supposed to be a virgin, and he took her virginity, and he popped, like what, I don't know what it's supposed to mean, but I don't know if she like touched it and licked her own blood, because now she has blood on her lip.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't know if she got busted up or something.
Or if she like, touched her mouth after touching down there. I was like all confused. I don't know what the hell is going on. I'm just like, not touching that one. I'm just gonna skim, go past it.
Nope. Yeah. It happens. It happened. We're good, and that's it. Next.
It's there for a reason. They're going crazy. It's fucked up. That's what it's supposed to be.
Yep.
They have missing patrols now, which is the patrol that they took out at this house, is what they're figuring out.
They're not reporting back.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm trying to figure where we can skip ahead of them just.
Well, right now I'm at 118.32, and the scientist who is doing the research is trying to get through on the radio to either the president or somebody, and the radio's having a hard time getting him through because there's only so many lines. And he's like, look, I have invaluable information I need to get through.
Oh, see, I skipped over that and didn't realize that. Yeah, that's an important scene. Yep.
But, all right, so where are you at?
I skipped to like 119.20 where they find the guy hung himself.
Okay, yeah.
But it's such a short scene, I didn't realize I skipped over it. But yeah, that's it.
It was 8 seconds.
Yeah, it's an important scene though, because
it sets
up because his character earlier, it sets up this and his impatientness, which sets up towards the end. Like, so he basically seems like he found a vaccine now.
Or he's close enough that he needs to talk to somebody and say, look,
like, I figured it out. I'm on the verge of a breakthrough here, whatnot.
Yep.
So they see they sent a patrol out to find these guys, so now they got to escape and get out of here.
Yeah. But the daughter is outside playing with the sheeps.
Yep. Here, sheepies.
Yeah, and they're like, you know what? Let her distract them. We'll go out this door. And basically, they offer her up as a sacrificial sheep.
Sacrificial lamb.
I know, but sheep.
But, well, a lamb is...
I know. But I said sheep because it was a bunch of sheep.
Yeah, but...
Maybe there was a baby.
But then the crazy dude decides to... I guess kind of sacrifice himself for the greater good now. He kind of maybe jumps in and has a moment of clarity for a moment here. He's like, hey, come get me.
The moment of clarity, he realizes he's going crazy. Yeah. And he's like, I can help these guys more if I do this compared to I'll end up hurting them if I stick around.
I was trying to find the right word, and then I came in, so it took me a second. Yeah, a moment of clarity is like, I think explains it the best. Because like the infected kind of jump back and forth, so now he's going to take on this group of guys, and he does pretty good. He gets a good amount of them before he gets there's a nice headshot death from him. Like,
but it's very weird because he got shot in the head, and they had the squib come out of his head. But after he gets shot in the head, he starts doing this.
I'll try to see that.
Like, dude, if you get shot in the head, here's what happens.
No, not necessarily.
I've seen Bud Dwyer get shot. There was no movement.
No, but he went up through the mouth there. This is through the back. You can survive a bullet through the head. You can survive a knife in the head.
Yeah, but it came out like there.
Yeah, but it's not. It might have went in through like the back here and then came out the side. But he dies though. It's not like he's walking around too though.
No, he's not up moonwalking doing jumping jacks. I just thought after he got shot, it was like kind of milking it. He's
I don't think you have to.
It's my last scene in the movie. I need people to remember me.
Technically, I mean, your off switch is here. That's the instant kill. You can get hit in the brain and not necessarily die right away. You know?
But also if you get hit up here though and it goes down, that'll fucking kill you.
Yeah, well, because it takes out the brain, the stem.
The stem.
Yeah, but that's also not always a one hit. It'll paralyze you
or an instant.
Yeah, it's not an instant kill. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's off for the movie. You know, like
I don't think it's gratuitous. I just think it was funny that usually when even on any film, if someone gets shot in the head, you don't see much movement after that.
Yeah, sometimes, not all the time. But yeah, now we're back at the doctor scene when he definitively makes his breakthrough.
Yeah.
Or I mean, he may have already made it, but he's like, I can't wait. You know, he puts his samples together and
that turtleneck is too fucking much, dude. I'm sorry.
Basically, it seems like he's gonna try to run it to them personally,
which is a terrible idea because it looks like this guy hasn't ran in 25 years. He kind of looks like a brown-haired, fat version of Orson Welles.
Maybe.
That's what it is. So where are you at?
Just him still in the office still. I didn't skip ahead. I'm just losing comfort here in my seat.
Yeah, I felt that a couple times.
It's my neck. It's been bothering me for days now.
Oh.
I'm having spinal neck disc issues. So I skipped ahead probably too far.
128.39.
Yeah, I went too far, but yeah, I can go. Like, I guess that's when he's first trying to get in the school, and they think he's like one of the people. They don't realize who he is.
Even though he's trying to tell them, listen to me. He's holding vials of blood. You know, he's got the cure. He's got this and that. And they're like, yeah, come on, crazy. It's like, yo, what the... Dude, none of the locals are calling this Trixie. How do you not know I am not crazy?
I don't think those guys know what it is, though. Do you know what I mean?
I just thought about that when I was saying it. Like, maybe they don't know. But
and then basically it looks like they're just they're like, all right, here, just have a crazy party in this room and jump around and climb on each other. And
it's like an orgy with clothes.
Then some guy breaks free. They try to shoot him. He gets away. Then everyone just kind of busts out. There's too many people. The vials fall down and break, and they basically lose all their work. And this guy falls down the stairs and looks like he busts his head.
Yeah, you got that little pool of blood coming out the back.
Which is basically in his hand, dripping the way they have it covered.
Yeah, basically like this. Like he's just like squeezing the ketchup out of the packet on his head.
Somewhat. So there's not much time left in our movie here.
No. You see that they set up a perimeter on the railroad track, a bunch of white suits. And then you got David and his girlfriend are the only ones left.
Now, did you notice, like, as he's talking to her, she looks a little weird. And then there's a music cue.
First time in the entire movie, I saw it. I didn't catch anything different with her until this scene.
Well, they didn't show anything different until the scene, but that's why I think they threw the music cue. They were like, bling, as she was looking crazy. But it wasn't
gradual.
No.
But
they said it affects people differently, though. They did say that.
It does. But like with Russell, we saw the descent into madness. With her,
it's just all of a sudden, it's the end of the movie. Maybe they rushed it a little bit. But she's been quiet a lot, too.
The last 4 scenes she was in, she didn't say a word. So maybe she was going crazy and just wasn't saying anything.
Yeah, I feel like, though, if you're going crazy, you would say something, though. I don't know if you'd be that quiet.
See, that's so weird. But yeah, you can definitely tell she's going now.
Yeah, she's all giggly and. But it was that music cue that bothers me though. They were just like
the stinger.
They were a little bling, like as you're looking at her.
The
then
soap opera Mexican stinger, like
I was like, was that necessary? I feel like her facial expression in this whole conversation. You noticed it already.
Yeah, someone gave her the laughing gas. So he starts building
the cinder block fortress for her.
Basically, he's playing 7 Days to Die right now, and he's building this little box area out of cinder blocks, and he put her in the middle, and he's just like, "Look, just stay real quiet and don't say a word, and I'll come back."
Man, fuck that game. I just read, getting sidetracked, but we have a second here to fill. I read multiple stories, like.
I want to hear this.
So, a video was released 2 weeks ago saying they're doing Alpha 19 soon. So this build's going to get wiped out and Alpha 19 will be released because we're on Alpha 18.4 or whatever right now. But I also read something as a couple days ago, the studio lost their rights to the game and they're not updating it anymore. So people are signing a petition to give the team rights back. Like they get the game, or at least on console, of their console versions, because it's on PS4 and Xbox.
It is available on console?
Yeah, it's been available on console for a while, yeah.
Okay.
It's not,
but it's probably
like
so hard to play.
It's not like a cross thing or whatever. I don't know how hard it is to play on console. I don't know. But
games like that with inventory and stuff, not having a keyboard and a mouse, it's probably a pain in the ass.
But anyway, it's just... Is it actually going to come out now? Is it just going to stuck in purgatory hell? Like, I mean, this game's been out for like 3 or 4 years, and it's on version 18, Alpha 18. It's not even a beta. They're calling it Alpha still. I don't know if you know anything about game development, but alphas are early. Then you have the
alpha
betas.
Is like the first, almost like testing phase.
Yeah, well, beta's still testing, but it's almost done. Like it's just you're ironing out the wrinkles. Alpha's like still like. You're changing builds, changing major things, whatever. But normally you don't get to play these games in alpha and beta. But this game's been out for like 4 years. They've been collecting money for the game, and it's not even at the beta stage yet. It's listed as early access, even though the game's been out for 3 or 4 years now.
But now they're talking about they don't even have the license, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know if someone else is going to take over the game or whatever, but. Alpha 19 is going to promise like HD zombies now, so they're going to up the graphics even more. So you might need even stronger computer. So like whatever Steam tells you need to run it, it probably isn't going to run it. Because I went from being able to run it 60, 80 frames down to 44 now with this update. And then if they do more HD zombies with all the custom creation and the map size, I might get dropped down to 30, and I have a pretty decent computer. But maybe it might be GPU heavy. I don't have a good GPU. I just have a good CPU and other stuff going on. So it's like, oh my god, this fucking game.
It's either stuck at 18.4 for a while because they lost.
Well, I don't know. It could have been at 18.4 for 6, 7 months, 8 months now. I don't know.
But if they lost the license, they're not going to release nothing.
Yeah,
unless
I don't
someone
know.
else takes over.
I need to do more research. But yeah, you just mentioned that just triggered my brain.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit, I forgot to tell you this. So if our
listeners are not aware, 7 Days to Die is this awesome zombie Minecraft game, but it doesn't look like Minecraft. It looks like a regular video game, and it's fucking incredible.
Yeah, you can build forts and fight zombies, and you can, after 7 days, you get like zombie horde attacks you, where you can edit it, change it. You can go into custom servers. You can make your own with your friends. Supports up to 16 people. I mean, you can build anything. I mean, you can.
And that's what
you have to scrap all sorts of parts. You can build underground bunkers,
the list
above
of stuff,
like houses, castles.
Not just medicine. Not just weapons. Not just food. Like literally, the list of items that you can build. I don't know how anyone could beat this game. You know what I mean?
Bicycle, moped. Motorcycle, car, gyrocopter.
There's a stream. You do have a stream of it on the GrindHaus Facebook page, right?
Yeah, I have a stream up there. There's also a trailer on the GrindHaus page of the game.
Yeah, so if you guys want to check that out, if you guys are
interested, you have to craft
take
food.
A look at the
there's different
page.
levels of it, different weapons, like melee weapons, guns. I mean, you fucking name it. Like it's in the. I mean, you can build.
If
You can
anyone's
build
familiar
traps.
with Minecraft,
You can build traps.
obviously
there's
you
turrets.
know.
Yeah.
But if anyone's familiar with Minecraft, you obviously know how in depth that game is. Just make that for adults with zombies, and that's basically
No,
what
but I
this
mean it's
game
cool
is.
because you can like literally build traps, like for the zombies or mazes or stuff, and have like different things in them. So you can like make them come in, and you can have like different where you can jump up and parkour around, but they have to follow the path, and maybe you have mines there or fucking
But that's what
bungee
I'm
sticks.
saying. Like the possibilities of what this game
you can
can
build
actually
false.
do.
You can build like trap doors and false like ground looking areas where as soon as someone walks on it, they'll fall through. I mean, the things are limitless. You can just go crazy.
That's what I'm saying. Like literally,
yeah.
you could play this game forever and never beat it.
Well,
and
there
if
is
you're not
nothing
playing
to
on
beat.
a private
It's just,
server,
it's how long you can survive. There's no end game.
Right.
It's just
that's what I'm saying. But what I'm beat it as there's how long it would take someone to build every item in this and have their house built up and fortified 100%. You know what I mean?
You
it
can
would
build
take
it. You can build every item in like 20 to 30 hours of gameplay.
Yeah, well, you got to level up. You got to find the stuff. You got to farm it. You got to do all that stuff.
Yeah, you can do all that stuff.
I mean?
But the end game is like how much you want to build your level. Then maybe you want to go to a different area, build another one, or restart. You can like randomly generate the maps or change the size of it.
And if you're playing on a regular server, you can actually go after other players and like steal their shit, which it sounds awesome.
It sounds awesome.
Probably
until it
what I would
happens
do.
To you. Until it happens to you. But you got to remember, you're
yeah.
starting with nothing though. As soon as you go on that server, you have nothing. So
no. I'm not going to do it right off. I'm not going to do it right off the bat.
No, you can't transfer your stuff over. Is what I'm saying. It's not like you can build your own server.
No, I know. When you start a server, that's it. You're starting from scratch. That's why I said I wouldn't start off being like that.
Yeah.
I would build myself up, and then.
No, that's what I'm telling you. You can't build yourself up and go. You mean you try to build yourself up in their server?
Yeah,
easier said than
start
done.
A regular
because...
game server, and build my character up till I'm actually decent enough that I could take on people, and then that's all I would spend all my time doing is just robbing people.
Yeah, but I'm saying you'd have to do that in their server,
right?
Without getting killed or whatever or whatnot,
right?
Because you can't build it up in another server and cross the character over those.
Right. That's what, I'd mind my own business and build myself up.
Yeah, but they might not.
You know what I mean?
They might go after you because you're a new guy in their server. They can find you. They can see you.
That is true. That first half of the game is me hiding. Second half is me getting my revenge.
You hope.
I'm excited. I just need to get a computer that can actually play it.
Yeah.
All right. I'm at 131 exactly.
Okay.
Hit play. Yeah, he's still building the little fort.
Well, they're talking about they're gonna kill you and whatnot. They're not. No, they're not.
I want to name the baby David. Yeah, I mean it's kind of sad, but you feel for the guy, you know. I'm jumping forward a little bit.
Yeah, it's just a sad monologue. If they pass you, be quiet. You know, try to escape if you can. If I don't come back and get you, you know.
Yeah.
Just get out
So
anyway.
basically, he's going up in this building, and all these white suits start walking by. And, you know, she is staying quiet and she's hidden so they don't see her. And they all start taking off, except a couple of them decide to go in the building which David is in.
Well, it's more than a couple. There's... There's more than a couple. There's like 20 dudes here.
No, I said the other guys left, but 2 guys decide to go in the building.
Well, no one really left. They're just combing the area outside.
Yeah, they continue walking while they're combing.
They're combing the water area, and they send 2 guys into the building, specifically.
Right. So, but that's what I'm saying. Not all 20 guys are in that building.
Yeah,
no.
But you got to say it right because you make it seem like they moved on already, except for 2 guys stayed behind. But they're really
technically they did. They moved on from that area. They didn't move on from the whole perimeter.
They didn't move on from that area. They just whatever. We have differences of wording, but I think we're talking about the same thing.
They just showed the scene where the Jeep's driving off and the other people are walking.
It's like a big sand plant though. It's not like they're leaving the area and leaving the plant. They're just covering the next building or whatever. And they're like, all right, you two go here, you spread out this way, you go this way. They're just sending people to different areas. It's not like they're leaving.
But they're leaving the area that they were just in, which was right in front of the building and right where she was hiding.
Exact area. But it's just, I don't know. I just think it's poor choice of wording is all I'm saying.
If anyone watched it and they saw what I said, they can agree. If they agree with him when they watch it, that's all it is. I know what it was. I don't know why they sent the two guys in there. But
they sent him in there to check the building to go see if anyone was in there. So he stabs one dude in the back that goes upstairs, and then he puts the mask on and talks through it and pretends to be the dude a couple times.
That's weird, but kind of believable.
Well, I mean,
because everyone's been wearing masks lately, and
there
is
definitely
it's not
like he's
something
looking
called...
at him though. He just hears the voice. He's like, "I'm taking a piss. Leave me alone." Like, you know.
Right, but what I'm saying is there is something called a mask voice, and now that everyone's wearing masks, you can tell. So although the guy's voice might not be exactly like the guy he killed with the mask on, it's kind of believable.
So then he comes out fully dressed as the guy, and then the girl's giggling in her little concrete fortress here.
The old Texas
switcheroo. Like, what's that? And then, he knocks out the other dude and starts pulling it down, but she doesn't realize it's him because he's all suited up and has a mask on.
Yeah.
Even though the other dude just got knocked out, and...
Yeah.
It's not conspicuous that he's got a stab mark in his back and blood.
Yeah, the big old blood mark on his back. Yeah. But then they also start getting like shot upon on the outside, and it ends up being, I guess, some locals.
Yeah, probably crazy locals again.
Yeah, because even the one guy, he realizes David's like, "Oh, David, it's you. What are you doing out here?" You know what I mean? Just like, you were just shooting at me, motherfucker. David did kill two of them, but he didn't get the last one. But they ended up shooting his girlfriend or wife or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, little monologue of sadness. Name our kid David, whatever. But they heard the gunfire, so all the white suits start showing back up. And, she dies in his arms. And, basically,
hey, David, I didn't know it was you. Yeah, it just makes me seem like that guy's crazy because he just like, or hey, coach.
Yeah, like, hey, what are you doing?
Or, hey, coach,
like,
who's she?
Hey, coach, who's she?
Yeah.
Like,
how do you not know? Like, you just feel like you're crazy. He should have shot him anyway. But he's just mad now that this shit happened because of what's going on. So then now they hear the gunfire and the troops come storming back around.
That's what I said. Yeah, they ran back because they just had
they were
this
like
massive
literally around the corner
fire.
of the building. They were just like at the other building, like right next to it. That's like 20 feet away.
Jeep.
Yeah, no Jeep.
I'm actually at the part where they moved to the office again. Okay, here he says the population 2,500 or 2,600.
2,100 survivors.
So that means like 1,000 people died. Wow. Okay, 3,613 total population, 2,100 survivors. So like 1,500 people were killed in a matter of
doesn't even seem like the town's
48
that big.
hours.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, the town definitely didn't seem over 3,000. I thought it was like 1,000, 1,500 people. Yeah, but you know what? All those country folks back then, they all had like 20 kids, so who knows?
Now they're all of a sudden worried about the virus being out before you got your lines up, and he's been like, he's probably thinking to himself, I've been saying this, and other people have been saying this whole time. So I thought this was a weird scene though, like because now they're going to evac him out and send someone else in and another doctor. So they set up that little UV light square, and he has his stuff going on there, and then he strips naked in the square. They drop him down. They drop him down clothes, and he puts those on, and then gets into the chopper, and they take off. And I expect them to
and then the
nuke to town.
The credits start to roll with the super sappy music, while you see this black guy butt naked getting dressed with another, like, I don't know. They didn't used to end movies like they do now, I guess.
I mean, you
nowadays
don't see it as BBC or anything, but
No, no. But you know what I mean? Like, nowadays, they always end a movie with, like, a bang or a jump scare or this or that. Not some guy stripping naked while, like, the Carpenters are playing.
Yeah, it was totally fucking weird the way they did it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's a really good movie. The end kind of drags on a little bit, I feel like.
They could have wrapped that movie up.
4/5 of the movie, I'd say. And then the last fifth kind of drags a little bit. I wouldn't call it the final third because it's less than the third. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But it's not a quarter. I feel like it's really like the last like 10 or 15
I would say the last 10 minutes could have been wrapped up in 2 minutes.
But then the last like 20 minutes or so could have been wrapped up in like maybe 5.
Yeah,
like it kind
honestly,
of just went a little. That's why, it's like about 4/5 of the movie is really good, really well written, and it almost seemed like, how do we end this? Like, did we use a nuke or not? And then they decided not to nuke the town, so it changed the way the whole ending would be. And I actually would have been honestly more satisfied if they nuked the town and then found out that it spread still.
Yeah, well, like, from the scene where Russell gets shot in the head, it should have been 5 minutes after that, the movie, 5 minutes. It played for another, like, 17.
You can push like 10 minutes at most, but...
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like they were just trying to pad it out a little bit. They didn't necessarily need it.
They wanted that 104-minute runtime.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a bad movie.
No. I'm just saying it dragged a little at the end, and there was a lot of monologuing and going over stuff, and it had this whole like, "I told you so" kind of vibe at the end. Like, you know what I mean? The way they wrote it. It seemed like they did it on purpose. You have to read into it, but after watching a movie for 80 minutes, the last 10 dragged the way it was all that talking and reaffirming and whatnot. It's just, I don't know.
Between like the wife dying or the girlfriend dying and like the people coming back, the troops coming back, and then the exposition with the cop, like, you can't have all the super exciting moments and then end the last 10 minutes on like this kind of like slow beat. You know what I mean? We're not doing a full breakdown of the 2010 movie.
No, we're just gonna go over the differences, basically.
Yeah, and I think, because I don't want to grade this one yet, because I do want to bring up the main difference of the 2010 movie, and this movie has the perspective of both the military story and the local story, where the remake is like 95% the locals' story. And yes, the military is involved in the movie, but you don't have the dialogue and the scenes with like the cure and the this and the that and what happens if it goes here. Like, none of that is in the remake.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, it's just weird how they did that. I mean, I wouldn't have done that, but like I said, it got that Michael Bay-izedness because this movie almost ends up being in a different genre compared to the other one in a way. I mean, they have a lot of similarities, but it's...
I could see it based off the source material.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Yeah, like, I mean, it has some similarities. It deals with a virus. People go crazy. But the other, like, this one's like more of a, like I said, more political. It's more written. It's not about special effects. It's about story, dialogue, fear, paranoia,
But think about when it came out, though.
The 70s.
Yeah, and then in 2010, where this one kind of ended up like a zombie movie, even though they said when they were creating the people, they actually wanted them to look more like like humans who had rabies, not necessarily zombies, but they still kind of look like zombies. Yeah. You didn't get that in the original. There was no special effects they were crazy.
Yeah.
Well, in the new one, they make it so you can tell without...
They change over time. They start kind of like these people when they get a little crazy, acting weird, and then their skin starts changing, and they look like they're rabid, and basically they look like their brain fucking explodes internally, and they die eventually, just like on their own.
And it's not to say I don't like the remake, but it's just another zombie movie, in my opinion.
It's just another semi-generic zombie movie. There's nothing special about the remake. It's a good, enjoyable watch. Yeah, but I feel like, honestly, me personally, the original spoils the remake for me. In a way. Because I like the way they did this. I feel like they could have made this version of the movie and then added some of the other features of the new version and made like an amazing zombie movie out of it. You know, like
if
it's almost like
stuck closer.
Like if Quentin,
to the source
if Quentin
material.
Tarantino would have made a zombie movie, I feel like this would be his source material because he's really good with the monologues and drawing the suspense and whatnot, and then doing, you know,
and telling multiple stories from multiple angles,
and then you get like the badass, you know, bloodiness and violence of Quentin. You know, his mind. You know how I think he would, you know, he would make it. I don't want to say because like Eli Roth draws comparison from Quentin, but Quentin's never really did like
Quentin's a better storyteller.
No.
Roth.
That's not what I'm talking about. No, you misunderstanding. Yeah, you got so Eli looks up to Quentin. He doesn't tell the story like him, but he captures like this whole horror side that Quentin's never done. So you can like. With the murder and the twistedness and the gore, you can almost see where if Quentin made a movie, it'd be similar to something Eli would have done, but Quentin does way better writing. There's no, you know what I mean? Eli can't write like him. There's no one can.
But I think Quentin would also build a moment a little better.
Yeah, no, I agree, 100%. Yeah, no, I'm not saying.
Right, so a movie, it wouldn't need as much gore as Eli uses and still be scarier because the moment's built up.
Yeah, no, but he does use a lot of gore, not as much.
Oh, he does. Yeah,
not as much as.
But I'm
Eli
saying he doesn't need it.
No, he doesn't need it. No.
I'm glad he uses it. I love it, but he
has like just the right amount. It's not like overkill, and it's not like too little. Even though if there is a lot, sometimes like a lot of blood, it fits. It works for the scene. You know, I don't think he ever overdoes it. But yeah, if he were to like make a zombie movie, I would really like him to redo this. I think it'd be a good one. Like
if anyone is coming into this like I did, seeing the remake first. I always thought the remake was a standard, like you said, like, yeah, I'll sit down and watch it. It's fun. It's an okay 2 hour, blah, blah, whatever.
It's not even 2 hours. But now, it's an hour and a half.
Yeah, but now knowing what the original movie is, the remake, reboot, whatever you want to call it, and the quality didn't get worse, but the original is so much better that this isn't even on the same tier anymore because there's like a new tier that's just so much higher.
It fails the storytelling scale, but you know, works as the quality is still there. It's still a very well shot movie. It looks good. There's no real super gross like bad CGI or anything. You know,
and the practical effects are good.
The acting's good. You know, it checks all the major boxes, but it just doesn't tell the story like the original one. It fails as a remake, in my opinion. That's why I call it more of a reboot or a reimagining. But even then, it fails because it still doesn't tell a story. It just shows us a generic.
It drops you off
story.
In the middle and then expects
like
you to.
The way the movie starts. So some of the differences here is the movie starts different. So now our main protagonists are. The cops instead of firefighters. Like they have a burning building scene, but you don't get that for like 20 minutes into the movie almost. Where this one started off, like now we have a crazy guy walking through a baseball field because there's a local teams playing. You know, they have a really good star pitcher on the mound, and
but the crazy guy walks on the field, but he's holding a gun.
Walks through center field with a gun. So now the police are out meeting him in the field. He raises the gun from him. Still doesn't even pull his gun, really. He's still getting ready. This guy's got this double barrel 12 gauge pointed right at him at like 2 feet away. I mean, I'd be shitting bricks at this point in time.
He has it at his side. He pulls it up to his hip, and the cop doesn't move. But when the guy goes to pull it up to shoulder, that's when the cop.
But he has it. You know, he has it at his hip. He can still shoot him from there. It's
totally.
He can
a shotgun.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's why I would whether he's pulled it up to his shoulder or not, hear hip firing, like I still worry.
Oh, he would have caught two in the chest as soon as that thing fucking went up.
But he wasn't even. He knows the guy. He's a podunk cop. He thinks the guy's drunk because he's apparently the town drunk kind of. Whatever. He doesn't think anything of it. So he doesn't even get ready until the guy pulls his gun up. Then he unsnaps his gun, like it's totally. You know, I mean, I guess, you know, like you said, in a town like that, that would be a little more realistic. You know, he wouldn't go right to shooting where.
You want to de-escalate the situation.
Yeah, he might try to de-escalate it more where someone that's a little more battle hardened or whatever would shoot a little quicker as soon as that gun's pointed at him. You wouldn't get a chance, you know.
Basically, what would happen today if if a guy showed up in front of a cop and
as soon as he starts twitching, I mean, their guns would be outdrawn beforehand. They know the danger.
Yeah.
As soon as that gun goes up, whether he's hip firing it or putting it up to his shoulder, as soon as it points towards the cop, he's done for.
He would have been on the ground.
He would have been done for. Which I'm not saying there's anything wrong. I mean, both ways work as long as you rectify a situation. But obviously, he has to shoot him anyway.
Small communities where everyone knows everyone and not a lot of action happens. They're trying to de-escalate. Plus, it's a little league game, or it's a younger
it's a high
kids,
school. It's not
whatever.
Younger, it's high school.
Well, they're kids. They're less than 18. Yeah. Some of them could be 16.
Yeah.
And then you got all the families there. You don't want to shoot somebody on fucking center field. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like I said, he gets aggressive, ends his life, and then the guy's family's at the game watching it. I think the one kid maybe even playing in the game, and the wife is watching it. So that plays into later, like the ending. So now so you see the one crazy guy. You still get no information. You run into him dealing with the shooting. The police officer, which is you want to say his name?
David. Oh, the actor's name? Yeah, sorry. Timothy. We had the discussion.
That's why.
It's spelled like Oliphant. I've heard it as Oliphant. Like the town up here in PA. It's
elephant.
not elephant.
Nope, not elephant.
It's not elefante. Yeah, I always said Timothy elephant. Not elephant, Oliphant. All, like A-L. But you guys know who he is. The guy's been in everything.
So, like, he's like the big noticeable. He's like the biggest star in here. Another star would be Danielle Panabaker. She plays a high school student who's one of the survivors later on-ish.
Yep.
She's Caitlin Snow and Killer Frost in the Flash series, if anyone watches that. She was in Friday the 13th reboot. She's done a good amount of things. It's like her majors. Yeah, you can go through and nitpick a couple other things in there, I'm sure, but
the main thing that I actually wanted about the remake is
she was in Piranha 3 Double D. I wanted to get that out.
Right.
I forgot about that.
The director of this remake is Breck Eisner, and he did The Last Witch Hunter. He did Sahara. He did The Crazies. He hasn't done like a whole bunch of stuff.
Well, his big thing right now that I can see without going through the full list, though, is the Expanse TV series. They did 9 episodes of it. I know a lot of people like that show.
Yeah, and that was, I guess, pretty popular for the amount of time that it was on. But yeah, I guess like the last Witch Hunter was supposedly really big, but I flopped. I don't know.
So Sahara is another remake, actually.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, of an older movie of the same or similar name. I just remember seeing this. Yeah, it's where this plane crashes in the Sahara Desert, and they have to rebuild the plane with like parts they find, laying around, or make a smaller plane out of the plane they have to get out of there. This is a remake.
Huh.
So it seems like he might have an MO. Let's see. I don't know. Like he's done all the other stuff are TV movies. So the Sahara was his first movie, then the Crazies, and then the Last Witch Hunter with is that Vin Diesel, right? Yeah, Vin Diesel movie.
Yeah.
I've seen it. Elijah Wood's in it. It's okay. Michael Caine's in it. I wouldn't run out to tell anyone to go fucking watch it, but if it's on and you have nothing else better to watch, it's not the worst movie in the world, but it's mildly entertaining.
I thought they had a lot of advertising for it, and it ended up flopping.
It flopped bad, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it flopped. As far as I know, it flopped pretty bad.
That may be one of the reasons he hasn't really put out much since then. Like, yeah, he's done some TV stuff.
Well, even Sahara, I don't think it was that big. I think it was okay, but in the scheme of things, I think that was even sort of a flop. Like I said, he's only done 11 things, but the most recent, it's pretty recent, is The Expanse. So, I mean, it's 2019 was his last. He did 4 or 5 episodes.
And he might be building back up. He might do another remake. It might be really good.
Yeah, who knows?
Oh, Jack says we've been doing it too long. It's always like towards the end, we're done with the movie and we're about to like talk about, our ratings and stuff. And Jack's like, hey, you guys didn't ask me what I think.
We got a little more to go before deal with him yet. Come here, buddy.
Yeah, but I don't want to do a complete breakdown.
No. I'm just saying, I'm going over the differences. Like, that's a huge difference. Like we were talking about at the beginning. So like now our protagonists are police officers instead of firemen. They're different. Yep. His wife is now the pregnant lady, but she's the head doctor instead of just a nurse. Like they changed that. They do round up people by force, and that's how they end up, scattered.
But the big thing I noticed besides like the storytelling is in the original movie, it was the military versus the townfolk. Mm-hmm. In the remake, the military's involved, but the townfolk are running from other townfolk. Like, even the enemy is not the same. And I think that was the main point in the original movie: the government versus the town. Mm-hmm. How do you fuck that up?
Yeah, now it's man versus man, and the government plays a role of being in the way, basically.
That's it. Like, because how hard of a story is that to tell?
Yeah, because like they get rounded up just like the other movie. They get so now they're going through these different levels of a detention camp. It's a little more updated. So this one they're checking this certain thing. This one they're checking, temperature through their ears, and then you have to go through multiple checks, and then anyone that tests negative, they put on buses and sent them out of town. So it was a little like it seems like the government's a little more trustworthy in this movie, where the other one was a little more
trustworthy or a little more prepared.
Well, it's a little both, because the other one they're supposed to be prepared, that team, but when you go into the movie, they're just literally locked everyone together in the classrooms. They didn't seem like they're supposed to be prepared, but it didn't look like they were prepared at all.
But it didn't even seem like they had the plan. They never even talked about evacuation.
Nope.
Where in the remake, like, they're actually willing to get these people who aren't infected out.
But then they take his wife, the doctor, because she naturally has a fever because she's pregnant. They don't even bother to ask. Just, you got a fever right away, you got taken away. So then she gets taken away. So then he gets bussed out because there's nothing wrong with him. Then you have a funny line with the one guy. They're like, oh, hey, so-and-so, like, where's your wife? He's like, oh, they took her. He's like, oh, they took mine too, or whatever. And he's like, I'm going back to go get her. And the other guy's like, it's not worth going back over a headache or whatever. And he's like, you don't ask me questions while I'm going back, and I won't ask why you can live without your wife.
Yeah.
Like, it's just funny. It's just a funny line.
Was that his deputy?
No, it was just a town folk that he liked. No, it wasn't his deputy. So his deputy, I think he got pulled. Because he got separated then, but I think he got pulled to the infected line, maybe a different, like, almost, I don't know. But he was separated because then now they're at the buses. Then they cut to they gassed her. They put her under, I guess, for sedation purposes, and everyone's strapped down in the rooms. So they had this whole elaborate setup for the quarantine, which was a huge difference. And then some crazy fireman crashed their truck through the fence. Obviously, we're skipping over a lot. We're just giving you the gist. Yeah, but like, it's different. This is different.
The monologue isn't as important as actually what happened.
This is just showing you the big differences, because now you have, like, just like in the other movie, you had the people attacking. This was a little different. But they actually broke down a fence. Now all these people escaped, even though they all got gunned down. And then they were like, all right, we're breached. Let's get the fuck out of here. So now the military is basically packing up and leaving all these people. And so his deputy gets out, and they eventually meet up, I think, at the police station. They both had the same idea to get weapons and stuff, but it was raided.
Yeah.
But they end up meeting up, and they're now hiding because people are still patrolling the streets and whatnot. And then they cut back to the girl. She's on her gurney, strapped down. She's waking up from her whatever, and she sees the other girl who we were talking about from The Flash, who her boyfriend was the pitcher kid on the mound at the thing, which was plays later. You know, these are like the people comparatively the other movie that they meet up with in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a scene, with a scene, I guess some of these crazies get loose, and he's dragging the pitchfork, which is the movie cover. You see him dragging across, and he just starts murdering people, just cold-bloodedly.
Which they did use a pitchfork in the original movie at one point,
But
cool little callback.
Now he's just murdering people like on their beds, and he's about to kill the one girl, and the wife lady, the doctor, she goes no, and so he comes towards her. Then obviously the husband saves her in time. He shoots the shit out of that guy. So they get her and the other girl out. They didn't bother to save anyone else because some people seemed still conscious and semi-normal, but some of them were out of it. They were just like,
it's like he's strapped. He's like, hey guys, I'm here too. And get a chance. Just go ahead. No, we don't got time.
Fuck you. See you later. Let me leave it with the crazies. You know,
he probably starved like 3 days strapped to the gurney. Like, I'm so hungry.
Yes, and then now they're trying to get back to their farm. You know, he has a junk old police car that they put back together.
Yeah.
And they run into the girl, her boyfriend's family plot, the farm there, and they act stupid, basically. They get gunned down by the military when they show up. The kids, like, they find the mother in the house while they're in the barn, and, you know, shit happens. So now you're seeing the cold-hearted side of the military again, just shooting people for being aggressive or running, which it's cold, but at the same time, you don't know if they're infected or not. You're just running. Like, the kid doesn't seem infected, but he's running out to his mom, who basically is running to the barn. They don't know if she's crazy or not, and they gun both of them down. So you have some similarities between the movies with that.
I guess after the cage went down or whatever and the escape happened, the military kind of has to approach this differently.
Yeah, the approach that all these people could be crazies. Before it was figure out if they're crazy or not, if they're infected. Now they have to, treat them as if they're crazy first, because they still needed to quarantine it, but they backed out of that building because they didn't know what the hell was going to go on there, which I think they could have. I mean, I don't know, because a lot of those people, when they tore the fences down and started to revolt, there's so many of them compared to the military people, they would just have to literally start shooting first.
Yeah, it would literally be like a pile of bodies.
Yeah. So they chose to get out of there,
and they also they do burn the bodies in this movie, just like the original. So like that is something that they kept.
Stop. Sorry.
No, it's all good.
Doggo's getting a little huffy here. Oh.
There he is. Yeah. Hey, buddy. The group is also spotted by a helicopter, so that is something similar. Yep. They kept that scene.
Nom, 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 nom.
Hi, buddy. Jackson, can you hear me through the headphone? Jackson.
Right in my mouth.
I probably thought it was you.
Right in my mouth. Yuck. I love him. He's my buddy.
He's a good dog.
He's an animal in more ways than one. He's
still a puppy.
Crazy little fuckhead. So your sister got to meet him yesterday.
Oh yeah. Oh, and Muna was with them. How'd that go?
They barked at each other, and God, he just drooled all over me. He's very barky and aggressive towards dogs, but he's not like I guess he's just kind of standoffish to see how they You know what I mean? Like
does he have a lot of interaction with other dogs? Though
he used to. He hasn't had any lately because of the winter. We have a dog park like a half a mile from here, so it's a good like mile round trip for me, and then I'll run around with him at the park a little bit. So he used to see dogs, but he's a very barky dog and barks and growls, but it's like he's like, I want to play with you, growl type of. It's like weird. It's not, but it can be taken very easily as a mean growl. But he has been, getting a little more aggressive with other dogs. I mean, he was attacked once, so I don't know what's going through his head. So, when he was a puppy, he had a giant German Shepherd that was like twice the size of him now. Grab him by his head and ear, basically.
Jesus Christ!
The dog, the dog was older. The dog had hip problems, had cancer, so he was just a grumpy.
Yeah,
he was a grumpy fucker
crotchety
and
dog.
didn't like other dogs. And Jackson is not territorial, but he will go in the dog park and drink water out of everyone's bowls because he's just a water hog. He doesn't drink a lot.
Yeah, he just wants water anywhere he goes. Yeah,
he doesn't drink a lot of water throughout the day. So when he does stuff, like I can bring a gallon of water with me if we're there for 2 hours. He'll go through that gallon easily. Even if we're there an hour, he'll just slop it all up. So the other dog was really thirsty and wanted water. So I was like, oh, Jackson was out running with some other dogs. And I'm like, oh, come here, And he got some water, and Jackson came over to investigate. He didn't bark at him. But that dog doesn't like dogs. So the dog, Jackson came over and was like, hey, what are you doing? You're by my person and my water bowl. And the dog just turned and grabbed him. Like, didn't even, it was kind of fun. And Jackson was only like 6 months at the time, 7 months old.
Yeah, so he wasn't even that big of a dog.
No. He was like 50 or 60 pounds. I mean, he was a big dog compared to most dogs, but compared to his...
Yeah, but not like he is now,
He was almost double the size now, and that other dog was he's still bigger than Jackson now. That was one of those bigger breed husky shepherds.
Shepherds. Yeah, like an actual German shepherd, not the American German shepherd.
He was a full breed German Shepherd. Probably was like 130 pounds, 140 pounds. But he was like tall.
Yeah, they're massive.
He was like tall.
Yeah. They're huge.
Yeah. Jackson's got a shorter stock. I don't remember if his mother was a American or German Shepherd. Like the Americanized version of the German Shepherd,
like the American breed
his dad
of the German
was
Shepherd.
Burmese Mountain Dog. Yeah. But like they're big. They're like the same size of Rottweilers, but they're super fluffy. Mm-hmm. So it's like it's
so they look even bigger because the hair on top of the big body.
Sometimes they're shorter though, so the way the hair goes down, it just covers their legs a little more. So they don't. They're bigger, but they don't always necessarily look as big as they really are because they look like they have short legs, but it's all fur. But they're just super they're like.
If you actually shave their hair to short,
if you shave their hair, they would look like a Rottweiler. Those dogs, they're just different colors.
Yeah,
because they're from the same area. They were bred to do the same chores as Rottweilers. They were bred to
they're like the working class dog.
Yeah, they're bred to work on a farm and pull sleds. Where Rottweilers were bred to pull butcher sleds in the cities. When they were selling meats door to door, and those dogs were bred to pull 2,000-pound sleds also, but in the fields and stuff if you didn't have mules. But anyway, so he's a little shorter, but he's still a little tank. Fucking strong fucker. Drags me around sometimes if I'm not prepared. But yeah, he's just a little crazy. A little wild.
I noticed, I was reading something. In the remake they call it Trixie, the virus.
The same,
Okay. So it's the same name as the original. It says that they threw down the spike strip and knocked out the tires on an SUV, and the driver was a government agent.
Well, they threw down the spike because they were walking back to the farm. They run across the deputy's Bronco, and he's like, "Oh, this is where they threw the spike strips down and captured me, basically." And then so he's starting to lose it just like the other one does. So they had that same play between like they did in the other movie. Come here, buddy, stop. Staxton, stop. So then, they see the truck coming and they want
the SUV.
but they want, like he says, we need to get this vehicle. So he's standing in front of it with a gun trying to get them to pull over. But then the other guy goes rogue and throws a spike strip, the government agent, and flips the vehicle over and stuff.
Fucked up the plans for their getaway vehicle.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then he killed the guy. So yeah, he kind of going rogue.
So pretty much after that, David and Judy, they go to pretty much where they're gonna be, which is the truck stop.
Come here.
And that's like their main holdup at the end of the movie is like the truck stop. A lot of people I saw on some online reviews say that their favorite scene is the car wash scene in this movie. That's actually
kind of a cool scene, yeah, because they got that vehicle from his house after they got out of the road there. Eventually, they put the car together.
But that's when it feels the most like a zombie movie to me.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, because now they're trying to escape the helicopter. Because they're driving, they see the helicopter, and they pull into the car wash thinking they can hide from there. But then they're like, "Oh shit! I thought I saw someone." So this dude starts shooting like a maniac because now all of a sudden the thing turns on, and he's like, "Oh, but everything's moving here, you crazy fuck." Basically, he didn't say that, but that's what he meant.
Yeah, but it hooks the car and it actually starts bringing it.
Yeah, but he's talking about all
like
the brushes spinning on the outside. The wash and whatnot. But the one thing they did do early in the movie is they found out it was in the water. I forgot to mention this. They did find out it was in the water. He goes to the mayor to try to shut the water off, to try to contain it before the military got there. They didn't know the military was coming. But the mayor's like, no, it's a farming town. You're going to bankrupt everyone. He's just thinking about money.
Of course.
Instead of everyone's safety of plague spreading. Because you don't have a town with a plague spread. So even if people do go bankrupt, at least you still have people. You can build it back.
Yeah. The economy will rebuild.
So he went and turned the water off on his own. But then all shit broke. You don't see any repercussions from that because all hell broke loose. And then they figured out that they were on the boat and they found the plane in the water. They didn't ever show it in the other one. That was another big difference. I forgot.
Yeah, they actually showed the wrecked plane in the swamp or whatever.
You're going to throw you off this boat, and then turn it off. He's like, shut up. He's like, why? He's like, we're over top of the plane. It's huge. Then they show the shadow in the water. So they try to map out where does that water feed to first? Which farm? And then it was the guy with the gun in the ball field.
Yeah, basically, the next they're trying to do the job of what the generals and the doctors were doing in the original of finding out where the water's going to go and how bad it can be and all that. And that makes sense.
They condensed a lot of roles, even though they were, before the military got there. Then the military grabs them after all that.
Right.
And then now they're loose again, trying to basically get out.
After that car wash, they take away in a truck. They get away in a truck.
I don't 100% remember.
So it says, as they flee... And their truck Ogden Marsh is destroyed in a huge nuclear explosion as they flee, and their truck flips in the passing shockwave. I do remember that.
I actually don't remember that. I was probably dealing with the dog and stuff at the end. I'm just like, yeah. Because I was thinking, I'm like, the nuke didn't go off. I don't remember the nuke going, they didn't nuke this place like they did, or like they wanted to in the other one. Because I'm like, that's another similarity. But they did nuke it.
They dropped the nuke, and actually as they're driving, it fucking flips the car because it's so powerful.
I missed that.
But they survive and they start walking. They make it towards Cedar Rapids and they see the military satellite highlights.
See that I remember. See, I don't remember the nuke going off, but then I'm like, they're going to the next town and you see the government satellite again because they showed it earlier in the movie, like in the beginning. Yeah. They went down and it's like a fucking CIA satellite or NSA because it zooms all the way down like Google Earth and you can see what's going on, and it shows them, I think, walking off or whatever, or the car wreck, right? Over going to the next town. So now it's the next town, this is where we have to quarantine next, send our, and it just cuts off, right? The credits at that.
Well, they actually find out, signifying another containment site attempt, because David and Judy are unknowingly infected by the virus. So they're actually bringing the virus to the next town. They should have died in that explosion. Yeah. And they're carrying it to the next town.
One thing we left out in the other movie, along with this one, it seems like they make the main protagonist like he has an immunity.
Yeah, which...
I forgot to add that in the other one, too, and this one. So that was another way. So when they grabbed him at the end of the original, they just kind of locked the guy up. And they're like, should we do some testing on this one? No, he's just like the others. They just brush him off and even bother. And it's like... there's your key to your fucking virus right there, and
they brought him to the hospital because the black general and him made eye contact.
Yep.
And but they said throughout the movie, like, someone even said maybe you have an immunity to it.
Yeah,
so it wasn't even
wife,
proven.
Yeah, but they made it seem like, and then like with the whole like breaking of the vials and stuff, like we lost our chance, but then now we have this guy, and then like he finally gets with them, and they just play him off as he's just some infected waste of a character like they did all the other ones, and then it seems like he's immune, like the same in this one, but they don't even, because there's no military really involvement on the level of the first movie. They don't even get into that.
Right.
It's like they just
they
left
never
this
had
whole
that. And then
plot out.
in the credits, there's like a news anchor that's reporting saying that huge explosion originating from the petrochemical plant.
Yeah,
and it had like a massive 400-foot fireball flame, like that nuke. They're just saying the chemical plant exploded.
How do they explain the radiation? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but you know what? Regardless, people got out of that town, so we'll never know because there was no Crazy 2s.
Yeah.
There was no sequel to the remake. It's not a bad movie, but after watching the first movie, all right, I will give the remake like a 7. Your standard zombie 2000s movie.
I'm actually harder on it than you for once.
Well, here's the thing, because I think there's worse zombie movies from that time period.
There are, but I still give it a 6. There's movies that I don't see it that high, but it's also not low. I give it like the 6. Oh, shut up!
But
I don't know if you can hear him.
Original,
he's groaning and moaning right now.
I heard. The original, I would probably put like up to like an 8.75.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. Yeah, that's good.
I think it was ahead of its time because George A. Romero in that time period was, I think for the budget that they had, they put out an incredible movie.
Yeah, well, considering, like talking about budgets, considering this movie had a $20 million budget. Now, that's not a lot in the grand scheme of Hollywood, but they did a pretty good job with $20 million, but they didn't tell the story like they should have. You know what I mean? Like in the first one, like we said, maybe if they put a little bit more money in it, could have been good. It opened with $16 million in February of 2010 and grossed just shy of $39 million and change in the U.S. and had an overall worldwide gross of almost $55 million. So it technically made a little bit money, but in the movie world, it still broke. It basically broke even.
Yeah, no, it wasn't enough to warrant a sequel.
Yeah.
But I actually think if they would have given the remake less of a budget, they would have been forced to work on the story, and we might have actually gotten something closer to the original.
Maybe. I think with a more of a budget, they could have hired better people. Is what I'm getting at. Not necessarily put it. Put it into the movie. They could have hired better writers, maybe better whatever. You know what I mean? Like, could have pulled together a better movie in general.
I think,
even if it was,
but I think the cast is fine.
No, the cast is fine. I'm talking like writers, maybe a better director. Because this guy, I don't think he knew what he was handling this. You know what I mean? He just tried to.
Yeah, I don't know how well he knew the source material.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't, and with some more money, you get better directors, better stuff in it, and I think you just get a better movie in general.
Yeah, I the only reason I said if they had less money is because they're forcing their hand to put out something more story driven. Maybe they didn't have the money for the effects or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's nothing the remake could have done differently that would make it more like the original without changing the story completely.
Changing everything. Yeah. Yeah, by far. Agreed. On that.
And lastly, the movie that's nearly 50 years old actually has more to do with today than the movie that's 10 years old.
Agreed.
That's crazy.
Yeah, the only thing this new one has that the old one doesn't deal with is I think the people be more like the newer movie than the old movie. They might be more. It might turn them more into like zombie-like people than the original movie did.
Yeah, we never saw what actually happens to the crazy people in the original.
No.
Like, how bad does it get?
I think there was budgeting restraints. You know, they didn't have money to do all the makeup to everyone. I think if they had more money, that might have actually done something like that. But I don't know.
But would it though? Like, is that the end game of what do you think the original virus would have done?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
I think George would have done it.
I think he would have made it like a final stage of the virus. You know what I mean? Of someone infected like that and whatnot. It is. I don't know. But I mean, that about sums it up with this. I mean, I don't have anything else to say. Do you?
No, I would recommend, if you haven't seen any of them, watch the original first. And then watch the remake, because it is worth a watch. And if you've seen the remake, go find the original. It's on Tubi right now. Go. Other than that, I am Gray.
And I'm Wolfman.